we're discussing Pontio's new name, whether we need a Pontio here. You're very welcome to join Talkaoke table.
Fi'n credu bod Pontio'n enw dewr mewn un ystyr, achos os nag o'n gweithio fel pont, mae'r enw'n anodd. A fi'n siŵr neithe, nid bod yn broffwyd gwai na bod yn typical o greu trafod, ond fi'n credu bod e'n wych bod y siop yn agor fan hyn. A fi'n gwybod bod e ddim yn bell mewn 2 flynedd pan fydd y lle go iawn proper yn agor, ond bydde fe ddim yn ddrwg o beth, tas yna rhyw fath o beth gweledol yng nghanol y dre hefyd, ond dwi'n yn gwybod os yw'n ymarferol, ond...
Os angen Pontio ar hyn o bryd ta? Canolfan fel Pontio?
Wel, mae angen canolfannau celfyddydol o bob math ym mhobman. Hynny yw, oedd e'n dor calonus i gymaint ohono ni bod Theatr Gwynedd wedi cael. Ond allan o benod digon trist a digon anffodus, fi'n credu gall rhywbeth fwy cyffroes agor a cychwyn sydd yn cynnwys theatr a sydd yn cynnwys pethau eraill hefyd.
Whip round newydd, gan bod gennym ni aelod, we have a new member to the table. Quick whip round of names.
Mikey.
I'll do clockwise.
Dyfan.
Woo! I'm spinning up.
Weiss.
James.
Gwellian.
Daniel.
Michael.
Lovely. What do you think of the new name for Pontio, Michael?
It's wonderful.
Do you think we need Pontio in Bangor?
Yes, we do.
And how many of us are arts fans around the table? Is there enough arts in Bangor?
Well,
Let's come back to you.
not really.
Not enough at the moment?
Not enough, no.
So you'd be looking forward to seeing something like Pontio open?
Yes, we would.
Fantastic. Why?
It will bring more to Bangor than anything that we've had before.
Brilliant. Anybody else on the arts in Bangor then want to chip in?
As Michael said, you can't have too much of the arts. What you can have too much of is the arts being stuffed down people's throats, and I don't think Pontio's trying to do that at all. As people, we don't like to be dictated to. I ni'n bobl sydd â barn, I ni'n bobl sydd yn lico meddwl bod ni'n gwybod bod gyda ni chwaith. Ond yn aml, mae'n gyd bwysedd rhwng bod yn barod I dderbyn rhywbeth newydd, a mae yna le I gyflwyno'r celfyddydau, a heb rhywle fel Pontio, dyw hynny ddim yn mynd I ddigwydd yn effeithiol ym Mangor.
Yeah, James.
One of the things that Pontio is trying to bridge is not just obviously bringing arts out and bringing the arts to people and people to the arts. It's also about bridging different disciplines. So it's about also bringing science together with arts, business together with arts, psychology together with the arts, and making something new. I think that's the thing, it's making something innovative and new. And when you get the most different things coming together, sometimes, that's when you get the most amazing ideas coming out. It's not that one is less than the other. Art isn't less than science or science less than art. But when you bring these things together, and that's what I hope for what we're doing here, is that the centre will do that, but also the shop will do that too. I hope that people will find it a place where they can come and they can exchange ideas and ask questions, find out more about the university, and most importantly, actually, that the university can find out more about everybody.
That's a good discussion point there, actually. What do we think of the shop and what should it be used for? Boys, ti eisiau jump in?
Dwi'n meddwl bod o'n lleoliad anfodol iawn. Dwi'n meddwl bod o'n mynd I atynnu lot. Dwi'n falch bod o'n, mae'n mynd I atynnu fyfyrwyr, dwi'n meddwl, a hefyd, dwi'n meddwl gwasti tocyna ar werth I fynd I bethau Pontio. Dwi'n meddwl bod o'n addas iawn.
Brilliant. OK, dyn ni'n trafod Pontio, Shop newydd Pontio. Mae croeso I rywun ymuno o'r bwrdd. You're very welcome to join the Talkaoke table. And the motley crew here. Gwellian.
Dwi'n hapus iawn bod y siop yma yma. Dwi'n edrych ymlaen I gael siarad efo pobl sy'n cerdded yn gwmpas y stryd yn lle bod ni'n cuddiod mewn swyddfa yn y brifysgol. Dwi'n meddwl bod hyn yn dda iawn. Dwi'n edrych ymlaen I glwb yma pob yn feddwl.
So os na digon o llefydd I cymdeithasu sy'n ti'n gweud yn Mangor ar hyn o bryd?
Mae o'n dibynnu faint oed o ti. Dwi'n meddwl fod o'n lle hanfodol o gwbl yn wedig os wyt ti'n dan 19 math o beth. Dwi'n meddwl bod hynna'n mynd digon da o gwbl.
Daniel?
As a former student of Bangor, I feel that there's not many places in Bangor students can go these days that isn't directly in town. So I think something like Pontio can be a great, especially since the Students' Union's been knocked down, I think it's a great opportunity for students to come and emerge in a better environment than they have been in the past.
If you want to join the conversation too, we're keeping a running flow on the screen here, and you can join us on Twitter at #ShopPontio. And please do come and visit the shop as well while you're here. Be arall ti'n siarad am, Dyfan?
Wel, dwi'n gwybod, ti'n bod, yr enw nes I ddyfeisio oedd Pontio, a fel oedd Gwion yn deud, oedd o ddim yn, o'n i'm wedi bwriadu fo ar gyfer yr adeilad, Ond mae wedi tyfu ac wedi datblygu, wedi gwreiddio wedyn mewn ffordd. Mae'r penderfyniad yma yn just yn cadarnhau yr genhadaeth o gennym ni reit o'r cychwyn un lle. Ond dwi'n meddwl mae o hefyd yn cynrychioli rhyw elfen bwysig iawn, sef llwyfan agored a drws agored rhwng sefydliad a'i gynulleidfa. Dydy canolfannau fel hyn ddim yn cael ei disgyn o'r nefoedd, maen nhw'n codi o'r gwreiddiau i fyny, a dwi'n meddwl bod hwnnw'n andros o bwysig. Mae'n ddim jyst rhywbeth sydd wedi cael ei orfodi ar Bangor, ond rhywbeth sy'n tyfu naturiol o be mae Bangor angen. Bod yr ganolfan yma fel yn ddrws agored, mae'r siop yma yn rhan o'r peth, ond pan fydd y ganolfan newydd yn agor, bod yna groeso mawr a drws agored i bobl dod i fewn, i weld beth sy'n cael ei gynnig, ond i gynnig syniadau eu hunain hefyd. Bod y sgwrs yn digwydd fel sy'n digwydd ar y bwr yma heddiw, yn sgwrs ddwy ffordd rhwng y pobl sydd yn trefnu a'r pobl sydd yn defnyddio'r lle.
So, ydych chi'n deud mewn ffordd bod yn bwysig iawn bod Pontio a bod pobl yn defnyddio bod pobl yn mynd mewn i'r adeilad newydd. You're saying it's very important that people feel welcome in the centre. So, how do we achieve that then? Sut dyn ni'n annog pobl i fynd i fewn i Pontio?
Wel, da ni'n cynnal polisi drws agored. Mae yr un mor wir mewn unrhyw beth, bod o'n raglenni teledu, mewn theatre ac yn y blaen. Mae gen pawb syniad neu syniadau. Mae rhai yn nhw yn bethau sy'n angen i ddatblygu a thyfu. A heb yr croeso ar polisi drws agored yna, chewch chi mon o'n digwydd felly. Mae'n ymwneud efo siarad wyneb yn aml iawn. Ron rhywun yn dweud peidio cuddio mewn swyddfa, ond bod yr sgwrs yn digwydd wyneb yn wyneb. Dylen ni ddim bod ofn fel trefnwyr celfyddydol i wynebu'r cyhoedd, siarad efo nhw, gweld beth sy'n nhw angen, a gweithredu ar hynny. Yn aml iawn, mae ymgynghoriadau yn bethau dipyn bach, mae pobl yn ddigalon. Da chi'n cael yr ymgynghoriad, mae pobl yn cynnig y syniadau, a dy'r syniadau ddim yn cael eu gweithredu yn nhw, a maen nhw'n fel, be aflwyd i'r da cael ymgynghoriad yn y lle cyntaf. Dwi'n gobeithio na ddim digwyddiad hynny efo Pontio. Dwi'n meddwl, da ni'n siarad efo pobl, clywed beth gen nhw i ddeud, cymryd sylw a difrifol o'i syniadau nhw a gweld sut fedrydd hyn redeg, ydy hyn yn rhan o'n polisi ni. Mae hynny'n mynd i greu'r bont gelfyddydol a gysbrydol hwnnw rhwng trefnwyr adeilad a phrosiect fel hyn a'r cyhoedd sydd yn mynd i ddefnyddio nhw.
Siôn, croeso'r bwrdd hefyd. Wyt ti'n mynd i weld bethau celfyddydol ar hyn o bryd? Sa ti'n dod i rhywbeth fel Pontio?
Byswn, o'n i yn Llundain dros be wythnos yn gweld perfformiad. Mae wir angen rhyw bethau fel yma Mangor ar y funud i ddatblygu'r celfyddydau yn yr ardal.
Ac ydy'n bwysig i myfyrwyr fel y myfyrwyr ti'n cynrychioli? Bod nhw'n cael gweld celfyddydau ac cymryd rhan?
Yndi bendant, mae gennym ni dros gant o gymdeithasau yma, nifer helaeth o heini'n yn gymdeithasau perfformio, mae gennym ni gymdeithasau cerddorol o felly. So mae o'n hynod bwysig bod ni'n cael cyfle i gymryd rhan, ond hefyd i roed yn ôl a cynnal cyngherran hynna felly i'r gymuned leol.
Greit, so ti'n dweud bod yna'n bwysig iawn bod myfyrwyr yn cael cyfle i cymryd rhan, saying it's very important for students in particular to take part in performance and have the facilities to do that. Brilliant. Anybody else on performance? Before we maxed out this conversation.
Mae pont yn rhywbeth sy'n cael ei chodi o'r ddwy ochr yn dwi. Wedyn, mae cynnwys pobl Bangor ar ardal yn hanfodol. Fi'n credu mae'r ffaith bod Pontio a gwreiddiau mor ddofn yn y brifysgol beth sy'n arbennig o dda. Mae'n arbennig o dda i brifysgol a mae'n mynd i helpu Pontio hefyd. Lle mae hynny falle mynd i gynnig her yw yn y ffaith bod hi'n mynd i fod yn ganolfan i bawb y Mangor a'r ardal. A pobl sydd a ddim byd i ddeud wrth goridored disg, a sydd ychydig bach yn ddrwg dybus o hynny, a sydd yn gweld celf fel rhywbeth chydig bach yn uchel ail. Wedyn, hynny, mae hwnna'n her, a sa'n gweud bod gen i atebion, hynny ydy'r math yma o beth, hynny, bod cylch yn gynhwysol, mae cylch yn cael pobl mas hefyd. Wedyn, Hynny yw, gallwch chi ddim bod yn bopeth I bawb, bod chi'n creu rhaglenni teledu, bod chi'n cael ei cylchgrawn. Hynny yw, mae rhaid I chi feddwl at bwyd â chi'n anelu mewn ffordd.
So, di'r celfyddydau methu bod ar gyfer pawb ta?
Mae'r celfyddydau ar gyfer pawb. Dwi'n gwybod os gall un canolfan gelfyddydol fod ar gyfer pawb.
So hwnna di'r her mawr. How do we make this a centre that is for everybody then? Hello. Let's do a quick whip round to the table then so we know everybody's names.
Gwion.
Dyfan.
Sean.
Lois.
James.
Gwenllian.
Daniel.
Mikey.
Jan. I'm Ellen as well. We're talking about Pontio at the moment, and we've just touched on how it needs to be accessible for everybody.
Certainly does need to be accessible for everybody. There's often quite a problem in the university with accessibility for disabled people.
Okay.
But I do believe that Arvon
Let's get you a bit closer. There you go.
Arvon Access are working with Pontio at the moment.
Okay.
And hopefully it will be accessible, and we really hope it will be, because there has been problems in the past with the university as a whole. Obviously, Bangor is quite a difficult place because it's on hills, but that doesn't mean to say that we can't sort something. So hopefully it will be accessible.
Absolutely.
While I'm still here, I'd also like to say a massive thank you to Dyfan.
Yeah?
I did predict that it was going to stay as Pontio, which was his name, because we all know it as Pontio, and he has done an absolutely fantastic job with Pontio so far. And if it carries on in the vein it has been doing, it'll be fantastic.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much. That's an interesting point about disabled access and stuff then. I mean, how much of Bangor would you say is very accessible at the moment? Is it a problem in Bangor?
A very big problem. We've got a problem with the High Street at the moment. I've just had to walk right from the bottom down there at Dean Street. There's an ongoing campaign to get the council to change the access to the High Street because parking spaces are not accessible. We cannot get onto the High Street. They've changed the times to between 4:30 in the afternoon and 10. If you want to go to the bank opens at 9:30. You can't get onto the High Street. Big problem. It's with the Ombudsman.
Right, okay. Does anybody want to jump in on that? Anybody have any experiences?
I don't.
All comments? Mikey?
I'm just wondering, do people, in terms of access, are people really aware of this problem if they've not got an access issue themselves? Because it's not something that I certainly thought about at all. It's actually last year I broke my leg, and suddenly I realised how hard it is to get around if you're not walking. And I think a lot of people don't actually realise that. I'm not saying that everyone should go around breaking their legs but it is a kind of insight into what it's like if you're not got the normal walking ability.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody want to come in on that? Sean?
Mae gynnu fi'r gofal dros yr agweddau lles yn yr undeb myfyrwyr. So I've got the welfare remit. So one of the things that we have been looking at this year is the disabled access, both for Pontio and the university as a whole. And it is something that we've made some real progress on because, like you say, it's something that it doesn't always come forefront in people's minds. If they don't have any accessibility issues, it might not be something they think about when they're planning new steps or different lighting or things like that. So it's something that we've been concentrating on and making some real headway on this year.
Okay. So do we think that people are aware enough maybe of disabled access and the challenges around that? Sorry, were you going to say something else as well?
No, I was just going to say that dwi'n meddwl bod y gwaith mae myfyrwyr yn neud a pobl ifanc hefyd yn bwysig iawn. I think the work that the students and also young people and from schools have done and their contribution is very, very important to changing these agendas in regard to access, agendas in regard to volunteering, all sorts of things in town. So, but I think, the only time I've experienced is when I lost my hearing in one side of my one ear. And suddenly you realise how much you depend on your hearing for locating things and communication, and you become very vulnerable. So only through experiencing those things you can begin to get a bit of an insight into them, I fear.
Okay, gwych. Mikey?
I'm wondering, sort of, as this conversation goes on, maybe we should, just do kind of, let people do the experiment, not necessarily break their legs or something like that, but just put a weight on their foot or something like that. Or, once I wanted to see what it was like to not have vision, so I put a paper bag over my head and got someone to want to guide me around my local market. But maybe we should do this more often, just to sort of like get an idea of what it's like for other people.
Okay, do you want to come in on that, John?
The mayor of Bangor, councillor, I've forgotten his name now, forgotten his name. Anyway, the mayor of Bangor City Council has actually been out in a wheelchair. He went out, I think, last week or the week before, and you can find it on Facebook, and you can find the difficulties he finds getting into access into shops. He certainly couldn't go to that coffee shop. He couldn't go to some horrible food chains. Not sure if he wanted to. There's an awful lot of places that you can't access, and if you go on Facebook, you'll find him.
So, in a way, I mean, we've been talking here about how everyone should sort of try and experience. Well, we're going to add to that.
I have been to Golygfa Gwydir, one of their eco pantomimes. I wasn't expecting it at all, but they blindfolded us. It was sort of a fairy tale theme thing.
Oh, wow.
So it was like 3 blind mice, and me and everyone got blindfolded, and we had to put our complete trust in this person. So is the arts a way of making people more aware of what other people go through? Because I had to walk through a forest, not seeing anything, and it was really interesting, and it definitely made me, appreciate what blind people, how scary it must be. So I don't know, could we use the arts to educate people in that way?
Okay, so the arts to educate people of disabled access and other issues.
There's something similar to that, actually. I think this might be in Germany. There's a sensory restaurant where you move into a restaurant and all the waiters are blind. And in a completely blackout room, you can't see a thing. So they guide you through the room, sit you down, they bring the meals out one by one, but you can't see the food, so you rely on your sort of basic instincts of sparing the food, taste, touch. So it's a completely different world of experiencing things. I think that relying on the senses might be actually a great way of sort of interacting in a cultural way.
Okay.
But I think the point there as well is it's not just about being, it's not just that you can't see the food, it's that you experience the food in a different way. So it's not just about being encumbered, but also having your other senses more activated. And I think that's the thing, is that there's another message there as well, that if you've got a disability, it's not you see the world in a different way. It's not necessarily a negative thing. I think that was part of the thing with the restaurant.
Okay, brilliant. Anybody else? She says, spinning. Okay, lovely.
Dim eisiau hogio.
No.
Un peth, dyn ni'n trio wneud dyn ni'n gobeithio wneud in Pontio. One thing we're hoping to do in Pontio is to create some almost virtual technology, digital technology, so that the kind of planning mistakes that people make sometimes when they lay out buildings, if you can experience it in 3D before you go to build, then there's a chance you might be able to avoid some of the problems. One of the areas is people with dementia. When they find their way around buildings, they need to have a purpose in the way that they go around the building. So it's possible to work with specialists who are already researching that area to use the digital technologies we hope to have within the Pontio building when it opens, to actually begin to look at these. And that's something by which we can get people in to the building and to work with the researchers, so that there's a real practical outcome and it's not just blue skies.
Yep. Brilliant. Has anybody else got any experience with any of the above? Lovely. Okay. Mikey, did you want to say something?
Well, I just think, certainly people with dementia, they're quite often ignored, and it's almost like, oh, you've got Alzheimer's or whatever, so therefore you're not going to ever, be interested in coming to an arts event and something like that. And I think, sometimes we just that's a massive proportion of our society. And, I think in a way it comes back to this idea of Pontio is a bridge. So it's kind of like, by including those people, we're actually getting different insights as well, I think.
Okay. So is this all very idealistic then, or can we really create sort of theatre and so on that is accessible to all?
Well, Pontio have recently done a dementia project with people with dementia. So, it's already starting to happen. So, and we actually held an event in January where people discussed what their experiences during that project. So I don't think it's idealistic. I think it's actually happening already. So that's fantastic.
Fantastic. Anybody got any other experience with
Sgyn am profiad y gwbl efo pobl anabl na byd, ond drwy'n addysgu uwchradd, dwi heb gael llawer o wybodaeth am pobl efo anabledd o falle a sut dwi'n ei helpu. Dwi'n gobeithio drwy'r prosiectau fel yma fel Pontio bod o gymorth i ysgolion uwchradd. Dych chi'n falle bod yna rhyw gynllun, dwi'n gallu bod ni'n cael fwy o wybodaeth am anabledd a dych chi'n bod pa mor bwysig ydi o bod pawb gymunedau i'r adeiladau mawr yma i bawb gael bydd ohonyn nhw.
Ti'n meddwl mewn ffordd bod cyfrifoldeb yr ysgolion hefyd i ddatblygu?
Dwi'n meddwl, dych chi'n mae rhaid iddyn nhw'n gydweithio, ydych chi'n rhaid y baich i gyd ar Pontio, ond dwi'n meddwl ddylsan ni roi gynllun efo ddatblygu rhwng ysgolion a Pontio.
I codi ymwybyddiad. Okay.
Wel, of course, un peth sydd da ni wedi colli hefo Theatr Gwynedd oedd y posibilrwydd o wneud y cynhyrchiad a productions ac yn y blaen yn rhwng ysgolion. Mi oedd ysgolion yn defnyddio Theatr Gwynedd i wneud eu cyflwyniad, eu cynhyrchiad y pob flwyddyn. Dyna rhywbeth ddylen ni wneud yn y ganolfan. Mae rhaid i ni, we have to sort of think about working together with the schools and making sure that's a way of getting the community involved, because we're not just, I work for the university, but I'm a parent, I'm a member of the community, we wear different hats and we all have a stake in it really. So it's important that we work together on that one, I think.
Okay, brilliant. So has everybody been into the shop yet? I'll give you a chance to... Oh, Dyfan, sorry.
Dwi'n dweud, mae gan ni'n ymwybodol iawn ac yn trio gweithio efo pobl efo anableddau a mewn ffordd positif, mewn ffordd. Da ni wedi gwneud dipyn bach o waith efo ysgolion o anghenion arbennig yn creu prosiect cerddorol lle mae'r plant yn medru wedi creu darn o fiwsig felly. Ond hefyd, mae gennym ni gynhyrchiad yn dod i fyny yn mis Mai, Mehefin dwi'n credu, Siop Pontio di enw fo, ac mae hwn yn gynhyrchiad gen gwmni o Gaerdydd o'r enw Hijinks. A beth sy'n arbennig ynglyn â'r ddrama yma ydy bod y prif gymeriad yn fachgen efo Down syndrome. Rwan, dydy'r cwmni ddim eisiau tynnu sylw, dwi'n gwybod dwi'n tynnu sylw ato rwan, ond mae'r bachgen yma yn ffitio fewn efo gweddill y cast. Ac maen nhw'n creu stori, wel, y stori Siop Pontio, y ffigwr efo Don Quixote, ond fydd yn ddiddorol iawn gweld sut mae'r cwmni yma sy'n arbenigo mewn gweithio efo pobl o'r anabl yn cyflwyno hwn fel bod o'n sioe dda ac yn deimladwy a bod y bachgen yma'n cymryd i le yn hollol naturiol ac yn integreiddio efo gweddill y cast i greu sioe broffesiynol. So os da chi diddordeb yn hwnnw mae o'n dod ymlaen, dwi'n credu yma mis Mehefin, ond mi fydd o'n y brosiad nesaf.
Okay, so felly cwmni theatr sydd yn wneud efo pobl anablaeth ta?
Ydy, maen nhw'n arbenigo yn gweithio efo pobl anabl. Cwmni Hijinks o Gaerdydd.
Okay. So we're just discussing theatre company that works just with disabled
well,
people.
Not just for with disabled, but,
not just,
but with disabled people as part of their production.
Okay. Okay. So do we think there should be sort of theatre companies that look just after sort of,
Well, I just think it's, I think sometimes we find it hard to sort of bring these subjects up in public and, I sense everyone's a little bit worried about, am I using the right PC terminology or whatever? And I think something that a theatre company can do is actually, get that discussion going and make people a bit more relaxed about just having a chat about it and finding out about different people, really. But I do think I certainly say, am I saying this right thing or wrong thing? Do you know what I mean? So I think it is something we need to actually talk about more.
Yeah, Daniel.
I find sometimes theatre groups these days are trying to make a point across with every show they make. They're trying to put a moral story on. So I think sometimes people want to go watch a theatre without having to feel guilty about something or without having to feel that they've learnt something out of the story. Sometimes they want to go just for entertainment value.
Yeah.
I think they have to get a balance right between a moral to the end of the theatre and just a plain good story sort of thing.
So two discussions going on at the moment, whether theatre needs to give a moral of the story and also are we being too PC? Do you think we're too PC, James, with your balloon?
Well, I think that in the Paralympics, when they had the comedy slot, I can't remember what it was called now, but I thought it was quite refreshing in a way, where people were able to talk, is it okay to ask this about somebody with a particular disability? And I thought that was quite refreshing. It was sort of there was a comedy value to the thing, but it kind of demystified a lot of the stuff that I think, people are nervous at times of offending. So. Okay.
New joy. Oh,
un peth gall canolfan. We discussed some of this yesterday around the same table, but one thing Pontio, or the centre such as Pontio could do is be a blank space as well, a blank canvas. Such as this table is really for discussion, but visually as well, for artistic discussion and dialogue. So, nes I sôn am y wal ma ddoi, one of Pontio's walls, not belonging to Pontio themselves, but belonging to the community and to the artistic community. So bod na wal. So fydden y bynciau fel un, so fydde artistiaid o bob math. Yn rhai swyddogol, yn rhai sy'n ennill grantiau, yn rhai sy'n erioed wedi cael ei gwaith wedi gweld yn dewis. Rhaid, dwi eisiau deud hyn, dwi eisiau dangos hyn, dwi eisiau peintio hyn. Ac efallai nhw'n gwneud hynny ar y wal. A fydde pynciau fel un yn cael ei trafod wedyn gan y bobl. Gan bobl ag ynghenio arbennig, gan bobl sydd â chwestiynau am iaith, gan bobl sydd â chwestiynau am hawliau. A wedyn bydde Pontio mewn ffordd yn hytrach nag yn rhoi i bar nhw ar bethau neu'n llunio i strategaeth a'i gweledigaeth nhw yn gyfredigol, bydde'r gymuned yn rhan o hynna.
Sgwrs di symud mlaen o ydyn ni'n rhi PC yn y gwlad yma i sut mae Pontio yn gallu cael ei defnyddio fel blank canvas i neud beth bynnag dyn ni eisiau dangos creadigrwydd ni. Ti'n neud whip round sydyn o'r fwrdd, quick whip round of names for the newbie.
Gwion.
Dyfan.
Paul. Sean.
Weiss.
James.
Simon. Daniel.
Iwan.
Lovely. Iwan, are we too PC? I like this subject, so I'm coming back to it.
Dwi ddim yn meddwl mae'n un, os ti'n edrych ar beth sydd wedi digwydd yn newyddion yn diweddar gyda...
I always do that, I'm always forgetting one. Sorry, I left one.
I'm right. Gyda Lord Rennard, honiadau ynglyn â Lord Rennard, dwi'n credu posib dyn ni ddim yn rhi PC. Dwi ddim yn meddwl dyn ni ddim yn... Mae'n un digon PC, dwi'n meddwl.
Gret. Da ni eisiau cael ei man efo pwnc yma, ta newid un arall, achos dwi'n meddwl bosib. Swap over? Oh, you want me to carry on? Agi gloi. Nice. Agi gloi. Ti'n gwybod bod ni mond i dechrau dwi'n mynd i cloi, anyway.
Fi'n credu bod eisiau gynnal fel Pontio i fod yn ddewr. Hynny, fi'n credu dyna lle gododd y cwestiwn PC yma, bod ni weithiau yn poeni fod yn bopeth i bawb a cadw'r ddisgwyl yn wastad. Wrth gwrs mae eisiau tri. Ond fi'n credu bod celf yn fforwm i drafod hynny. A mae'n rhaid cael rhyddid a rhoi rhyddid i artistiaid i allu gwneud hynny. Hyd yn oed bod yna artistiaid sy'n deud pethau, dyn ni'n cytuno â nhw, dyna'r unig ffordd i dawelu nhw hefyd os yw'r pethau yna'n bethau ffiaidd hiliol neu beth bynnag. Mae rhaid cael y ddeialog yna fel bod llais y mwyafrif, neu'r llais resymol, neu'r llais i ddim o resymol yn cael ei glywed.
Sgyrsiau diddorol am ti be fedrith Pontio wneud felly?
Dwi'n meddwl dipyn o'r hen a dipyn o'r newydd ydy'r cydbwysedd dwi'n meddwl dylen ni drio nelu ato fo. Dwi'n credu'n gry iawn mewn rhoi ffydd mewn pobl ac i roi cyfleon newydd neu gwahanol iddyn nhw. Mae'n eberig mewn rhigolu pobl, bod nhw'n styc yn ei rhigol, yn gwylio'r un math o raglenni teledu ar un math o fywyd. Mae eisiau ehangu dipyn bach ar hynny. Da ni wedi trio wneud o drwy rhaglen Pontio. Diolch yn fawr i Jan am ei sylwadau caredig am hynna. A dyna'n holisi. Ond hefyd, ar ddiwedd y dydd, mae rhaid i bynnag sy'n trefnu fod yn sicr bod yr digwyddiadau a'r gweithgareddau yn apelio at ei hunan felly, achos yn y bôn, bod na rhyw fath o deimlad bod rhaid ni fod yn ddemocrataidd ac rhywbeth pethau i blesio pawb, yn y bôn, beth sy'n plesio chi ydy'r safon ola da chi'n ddefnyddio, neu'r cyntaf da chi'n ddefnyddio mewn ffordd, ac os di'n plesio chi a bod chi efo chwaith eang a chatholig mewn yn y celfyddydau siawns na fydd o'n plesio bobl eraill hefyd.
Celfyddau den bwysig fan hyn, ydyn nhw?
Ydy. Dwi'n meddwl bod o'n bwysig iawn i cael rhywle yn y gymuned llefydd llwyth bobl, rhoi disoniadau ymlaen y pethau mae Pontio'n cynnig fel dysgu a Ie.
Lovely. Sean, ti'n gweud cwbl o geiriau cyn i fi jumpio off y bwrdd yma?
Ie, just yn sydyn, mae o'n bwysig, o'n a lyfr, hefyd, dim efo anabledda corfforol, hefyd ella rei meddyliol. O'n a lyfr, chydig flynedd yn ôl, The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Night Time, oedd di gael ei selio ar bachgen efo, oedd ar yr autistic spectrum. A dwi'n meddwl weithiau, ella bod ni chydig bach weithiau ar PC, ond ella weithiau da ni hefyd, da ni'n eisiau siarad amdano fo. A dwi'n meddwl, mae yna lot o waith di gael ei wneud lenni yn genedlaethol efo iechyd meddwl a felly am it's okay to ask. A da ni defnyddio celfyddydau i ddatblygu hynny hefyd.
Gret. Pwynt diddorol iawn am codi, o pwnc da ni'n wedi cyffwrdd yno eto fel o. Ti eisiau sôn o beth jyst i gloi?
Dwi sgrym byd o fan
Na,
nabod.
mae'n iawn.
Dwi'n meddwl drai ddweud ydy, dwi wedi bod mewn dwy sioe gerdd efo Ysgol Tryfan yn Rhan Theatr Gwynedd. Ac o hyn pan o'n i'n blwyddyn 7 a blwyddyn 8. A ers yna, mon gwasanaethau nadolig da ni gael, so mae pawb yn cael cyfle i ddarllen a falle ond dim perfformio. A dwi jyst yn gobeithio fe drith y cyswll yna rhwng ysgolion uwchradd a cynradd efo Pontio ddod yn ôl. So bod plant yn cael y cyfle i fod ar lwyfan.
So links efo'r ysgolion yn bwysig iawn i cyfle i perfformio. James?
Iawn. Dwi jyst meddwl fod y celfyddydau'n bwysig iawn a sort of pob sort of stage bywydau pobl, yn ywedig yn dywydd bywydau, end of life. A mae'n rhywbeth, really agos i calonna pobl. It's something that's really close to people's hearts. The arts really connect with people in a way that sometimes, pure words don't. So music can reach the parts that, other things cannot reach, to use a slogan from an advert. So I think that whilst sometimes society pushes these things to one side, it's important that we recognise that these things have a way of actually connecting deeply with people at all levels.
Okay. Sa'n mynd i gwybod ti newydd ymuno'r bwrdd. Ac i gloi, da ni. Wyt ti'n meddwl bod y celfyddydau'n bwysig?
O dwi yn, a dwi'n meddwl jyst yn cyd-destun lle ni'n tyfu fel cenedl, mae'n bwysig. So ti'n meddwl bod y cynulliad y Senedd yn lle ni'n gallu trafod beth sy'n neud cenedl, beth sy'n bwysig i ni, beth yw gwerthoedd ni. Ond yn ffodus, mae gwleidyddiaeth yn tueddol fod yn fi haianaidd, fi pleidiol, a gwleidyddion yn ofni wneud camgymeriadau, ofni gwaed y peth anghywir ac ati. A draw i'r celfyddydau rili, lle mae mwy o cyfle i drafod syniadau newydd, cyfle i explorio beth sydd yn neud ni'n Gymru a beth sy'n neud ni'n ôl ni yn Ewrop a tu hwnt hefyd. A dwi'n meddwl bod hi'n bwysig bod y celfyddydau yn digwydd yma yn Bangor, mae'n bwysig bod Pontio yn digwydd, ond mae'n bwysig bod ni ddim yn ofni methu chwaith. Bod pethau yn cael eu mentro a pethau yn llwyddo neu peidio. Yn y byd gwleidyddol dwi'n gwneud fan fwy o'n waith i mae ofn methu yn gyrru caedwadaeth ronc a dweud y gwir ac yn gwneud ni'n anodd iawn i aloesi ac yn bod yn fwy radical. Felly dwi'n gobeithio'n fawr bydd Pontio yn radical a dwi'n gobeithio bydd hi'n herio drefn. A drwy hynny yn adeiladu democratiaeth, achos mae mwy democratiaeth na just pleidleisio. Mae teimlo bod chi'n rhan o gymuned, pob person yn rhan o gymuned, beth bynnag yw i hoedran nhw, beth bynnag yw i anabledd nhw, neu beth bynnag. A mae celfyddydau yn gallu bod yn fwy eang-fydig na unrhyw gwleidyddiaeth PC yna hynny. So draw bydd Pontio am hynny.
Gret. Einio, ti eisiau gweud gwbl o eiriau?
So, cytuno gyda efo gwion, rhaid ni fod yn ddewr a peidio trio plesio pawb trwy'r amser, mae'n amhosib wneud hynny. Felly, ond y falas hefyd i peidio gadael pawb cael ei deud nhw, bod ni'n gorfod rhoi statement bron. Dyma beth ni eisiau dangos, a dyn ni'n dangos bod ellid pawb eisiau.
Lovely. Some fascinating thoughts on the art's importance in life here. Iowan, ti eisiau ymuno rhywbeth taw? Mae'n iawn achos dwi'n gwybod dim byd o'n ôl ti o blaen.
Na, wel,
dwi'n
meddwl mae Pontio yn swnio diddorol iawn a dwi'n gobeithio bydd yn rhywbeth sydd yn datblygu, sicrhau, dim yn unig datblygu diwylliant adael yma, ond hefyd ynglyn â swyddi economi lleol, herwydd dwi'n credu mae hwnna'n bwysig hefyd. A mae rhaid i sylweddoli pan mae diwydiannau creadigol yn hanfodol bwysig i datblygu genedl a datblygu economaidd y genedl hefyd.
Fab. I'm going to swing round quickly. Mikey, any closing thoughts before I give somebody else a go at this?
I think you've done a really good job and we should give you a round of applause.
Oh, thank
but
you.
I also say to people, don't go because Guion's going to go in the middle.
Yay!
And we need to keep it warm, as warm as possible for him. So if where does this lead on to is a big question. We talked a lot, and I guess there's a lot of fans of the arts around the table, but and positive people thinking about what the arts can do, but we've got asked the question, are we getting enough people involved in this? Are they, are we really, is there really a bridge to, I'll turn that down a little. Is there really a bridge to the rest of the community that are maybe not already embedded in the arts? Or do they think, we're just a bunch of weirdos talking on the street and they're not necessarily invited?
Not really. I've been over to Benidorm and places like that, and this happens all over the place, and I think it's a good thing.
Well, there you go. Okay. Come and get involved in this.
Been to Barcelona, all over the place, and I think it's a good thing. And it should more happen things like this in Bangor. It should be a lot more of this kind of stuff going on, because this town has gone a dead town only for people like this. And good on you. You look lovely.
What's your name?
Harp on.
What's your name?
My name is Steve.
Steve, okay. Steve thinks there's nothing going on in Bangor High Street and he can come back for this. No.
Da iawn, Elin.
Let's have a big round of applause for Ellen. This is only her second day and first in public as a Talkaoke host, and it's clear that she's got a lot of talent.
Wel, helo, siwmai. I fi'n unig iawn ac yn oer iawn yn y canol fan hyn. Croeso I Talkaoke neu Trafodoki, fel mae wedi cael ei gyfieithu.
O, lyflu.
Fel i'r angel yma.
Diolch yn fawr. I fi mewn, ie? Ie. Diolch yn fawr. I ni wedi bod yn siarad trwy'r bore, trwy'r prynawn. I ni'n gallu siarad fel Cymru. Croeso I chi ymuno yn y cylch. Croeso I chi ymuno. Cwsmeriau, mae am ddim. Gewch chi ddim eich tabell o'ch ddechmygu. Da ni wedi wneud celf. Da ni wedi wneud. Ti'n mwy I ddeud am y celfyddydau. Ond eto gyd, mae'r sgwrs I fod I godi o'r tu allan mewn. So dwi'n mynd I arwain y sgwrs. So os rhywun eisiau deud rhywbeth am y celfyddydau, croeso chi wneud. Na I just gofyn beth I enwau pawb. Fi'n nabod rhai, ond sy'n lot os nag i'n nabod yn gilydd. Nid dyna'r nod, really. Dod I wybod beth ni'n credu, beth ni'n feddwl. Ond dechreuwn ni fan hyn.
Jerry Hunter, dwi?
Jerry Hunter.
Paul. Manon. Caris. Fion.
Elin.
Mikey.
A da ni a gwion y dwi. Da ni yma jyst I siarad. Talkaoke, Trafodoki yw'r cyfeithiad. I chi'n meddwl hwnna'n gyfeithiad eitha da? Chymwch chi sy'n siarad Cymraeg? Trafodoki. Talkaoke, Manon?
Dipyn bach o long cake, mae'n anodd I ddeud dydy'n Gymraeg, dydy. O, mae'n anodd I ddeud yn Saesneg. Pan ni ddarllen o dweud y gwir, oedd hi'n anodd dehongli'r gair, ond...
Mae'n gwall teipio oedd o dechrau Polish efo, gynta da.
Wel, ie, dyna fe. Tafioki o'n i'n meddwl, mae'n siarad gyntaf. Felly, hynny'n eitha adas. Helo, croeso, welcome.
Little bit. Dave Davis, I am the champion boxer.
Dave, the champion boxer.
87. You okay, mate?
Okay, I'm not going to get into a fight with you. We're here to throw words at each other anyway, okay? So we're discussing all sorts of things. We're discussing culture, doing trafod celf. We've been discussing what it is to be Welsh on St David's Day. Saying, well, a lot of daffodils in here. This is the daft taff.
Where can we get daffodils? It's nice, isn't it?
There you go.
Well, thanks, you.
Does wearing a daffodil or a leek? Why the daffodil and not a leek? Where are the leeks gone? It used to be leeks. Oh, there, mae'n un cenhunel am yna. Does wearing a daffodil then make us feel more Welsh today?
Definitely. We're dead proud to come from it. We don't have to... I can't speak Welsh, but I box for my country, and I'm very, very proud to have done that. And I'm proud to come from Bangor and from Wales. That's all I can say.
So what you're saying is being Welsh means a lot of different things. The language is a part of it, but there are other things as well.
Oh, best people in the world.
Rhywun arall sydd teimlo'n Gymro, what makes you feel Welsh today? Rhywun eisiau ymateb I hynny? Y ffaith bod ni'n gwisgo rhywbeth? Neu'r ffaith bod ni'n siarad rhywbeth? Neu'r ffaith bod ni'n credu rhywbeth? Neu'r ffaith bod ni'n dod o Gymru? Beth yw e?
Swn i'n licio gwybod, sorry Jerry, swn i'n licio gwybod sut mae Jerry fel Americanwr yn teimlo am hynny heddiw yma.
Da iawn, mae'n hawdd at y cwestiwn fel cwestiwn. Da iawn, Manol. Ie, Jerry. Americanwr yng Nghymru, Manol I Sting yn New York. Ti'n Americanwr ym Mangor.
New York hefyd.
Ie. Beth sy'n... Wyt ti'n teimlo? Oce, cwestiwn, wyt ti'n teimlo mae Cymru wyt ti'n Americanwr wyt ti yng Nghymru?
O, Americanwr dwi da. Ti'n gallu newid rhywbeth fel yna, mae rhywun newid dillad, ond dwi'n licio gweld pobl eraill yn gwisgo fyny da, ac yn canu a rhywbeth y felly da. Felly, ia.
Ond ti'n gwybod, y faner, mae'r faner yn bwysig yn America, ond mae'r faner yn bwysig yn Nghymru. Os rhywbeth iach mewn bod mor patriotic, mor gynulleidfagar?
Mae'n well i lydydd bychain, dwi'n meddwl, fod yn latgarol, da, na rai mawr pwerus, da, achos dim yn llawer o ddrwg i neb wedyn accent.
Sorry.
Pan nes i mas i America, o'n i'n teimlo bod yr Americanwyr yn fforsio eu hunan i deimlo fel Americanwyr, achos oedd y fflag ym mhob man. Oedd e fel bod rhaid nhw gael eu hatgoffa i bod nhw'n Americanwyr drwy'r amser. A falle bod hwnna'n dod o'r ffaith bod lot o bobl wedi symud i America, bod dim cymaint o hynny o Americanwyr brodorol, a bod pawb o wledydd gwahanol, felly mae'r fflag yna'n bwysig mewn ffordd gwahanol.
So Nerys was just saying, Nerys yn deud, falle bod Carys, Carys yn deud, mae enwen bwysig a cael nhw'n iawn, a falle bod e'n bwysig bod ni'n deud bod ni'n Gymru, a bod y faner yn rhan hwnna, but Carys was just saying that possibly the Americans are a bit forceful in the way that they use their flag. Is it easier for smaller countries to be patriotic, to be national and to use flags and emblems and symbols? Mikey?
Well, where I'm from in London, you've just got like, pretty much everyone's got, there's not many English people there, there's people from all around the world, but they've all got their flags in their cars and whatever, but it means something different than if you've got, I was saying earlier on, that if you've got a Union Jack. So yeah, I mean, I think it is. I mean, you don't see that many American flags in London, but you see a lot of Jamaican, Ghanaian, what else is popular? Brazilian, they like to have the flag. Not all kinds, it's funny. You see the odd Welsh flag here and there, yeah.
I can assure you that, especially when I boxed in the Albert Hall in Wembley and places like that.
Yeah. Did you wear a flag at all? Did you walk into the ring with a flag over your shoulders?
Oh, I had Dave Davis Wales at the back of my back.
I think it's harder for countries like Wales who haven't really got that big an identity in the world scale to to show their cultural identity. So things like the daffodil and singing and acting and things that are stereotypically Welsh, they try to make that a bigger thing, to show to the rest of the world, here we are Wales, this is what we do. Whereas countries like America, they're such a big world power that, because they're a melting pot, obviously from the start, that's the point of the States, was to get people from all around the world in. So their cultural identity is a lot harder to define. So I think that's why the flag is such a big sort of deal. It's a big defining point of the States.
Fi'n edrych o gwmpas i weld os yw'n eisiau mateb.
Eisiau hefyd o ran beth Carys y ddeud am America, am y symbol yma. Mae yna gan wych, gan o'r enw John Prine, oedd yn fatha canwr gwerin yn 60 a 70. A dyn dewr, achos yn dŵr o gefndir Appalachian, lle bobl licio stwff bluegrass a country and western, oedd o'n canu am protest at y Cryfel Vietnam yn efo'r rhyfel. A gyda fo gan, your flag decal won't get you into heaven anymore. A mae pawb efo'r baneri yn bob man, doniol iawn, dweud i gwir. Mae'n pwr pasol iawn,
Rhywun arall?
O'n i jyst yn meddwl bod o'n amser rili ddechrau sbio ar patriotism mewn ffordd gwahanol, bod o'n briliant i bod efo'r national tribal identity i helpu hybu culture a bachu. Da ni wedi dod i adag gwan lle mae'r byd wedi globaleiddio a separation ma sy'n rhwng y gwledydd i gyd sy'n cadw problemau y byd i fynd. So, suppose beth dwi'n siŵr dweud ydy, mae'n bwysig cadw'r national identity, mae'n bwysig sbio yn fwy eang hefyd.
Os yw'n arwyd i ddweud am hynny yw, ta beth drwg yw hoelion lliwiau i'r mast mewn ffordd. Nes ti ddefnyddio'r gair stereotype, hynny yw, mae'n artist fan hyn wedi gwisgo fel telyn a hen ddynes Gymreig, liwgar, fodern. Rhyw fath o awgrymu hynny, taw beth i chwerthin arno fe yw stereotypes, a falle ti'n awgrymu hyd yn oed yn gryfach, taw rhywbeth drwg yw diffinio'n hunain yn rhy gryf mewn byd global lle ni eisiau cyd-dynnu.
Arall i hynna, rhan globaleiddio, ar dylera pwy mae'n digwydd. Hynny globaleiddio, os di pawb yn siarad Saesneg, os di pawb yn chwarae gêm yn ôl America neu Llundain neu pwy bynnag sydd yn gosod rheola, felly dyna'r drwg i hynna. Mae iawn hynny, mae ffiniau'n gallu bod yn rhywbeth sy'n creu rhyfel a balli, ond eto pan ydych chi'n gysylltu pawb ar dylera pwy, sut ydych chi'n sefydlu cymuned rhyngwladol,
Sut ti'n gallu rhoi nhw'n gyd yn yr un bracket? Bob trai, fe?
Okay, we're just discussing what it is to be Welsh, in a sense, if I'm not putting words in people's mouths. What it is to be Welsh, what it is to be English, and how do we define ourselves? Our flags, symbols, emblems, the harp, the daffodil, are they good things or things that actually devise us in the end? So, Mikey, we're going to come in there.
Well, I don't really see myself as English. I'm from Hackney, so not even London, but Hackney, which is like this kind of community of artists. So it's like, you know, there's not a Hackney flag. There's a Hackney logo, but I wouldn't necessarily use that because we don't like the council either. So, you know, I think you don't have to be, you know, like you might choose Wales. Like if you go to Africa.
Hello.
Hello, come and get involved.
Hello.
Have a seat.
Come in, beth i ti'n meddwl? Di siarad Cymraeg? Di speak Welsh?
Dipyn bach.
Yeah, gei di siarad Cymraeg neu gei di siarad...
So, you know, different, like in Africa, everyone...
Yeah, no, it's kind of.
Everyone sees themselves as African, but not like as, you know, so they've like got, but no one here would say, oh, I'm European. They would say, I'm Welsh or I'm British.
Yeah. Okay, Mikey, croeso. We'll have a name check because we've got new people in here. I'm Gwion. Deno di?
Darren Williams. Oh, I sound good.
Beth eisiau deud, Dylan?
What do I want? I want my girlfriend to ask me to marry her.
I can't help with that.
Hello. Oh, I like this. I'm getting all dizzy. Hello. Hello.
So beth i ti... I ti o Gymru, Dylan? And what makes you feel Welsh on St David's Day like this? We've been asking people, if you want to join the conversation, we've been asking people on Talkaoke, what makes you feel Welsh? Beth sy'n deimlo'n Gymru ar ddwrnod dydd Gwyl Dewi? Dylan?
Wait until next week till we beat England.
Okay, do we define ourselves by beating England? Is it not being Welsh but not being English? Beth sy'n gwneud ni'n Gymru? Curo Lloegr? Neu y ffaith bod ni'n hyderus o fod yn Gymru ni'n hunain? Dwi'n perthynas ni a Lloegr yn bwysig? Dyna sy'n gwneud ni'n Gymru?
Absolutely. I understand what you're saying, but I don't know how to say it back.
No, go on.
I love you.
Okay, mae'n ddigon o gariad yma. Okay. Oeddi bod yn Gymro yn golygu peidio bod yn Sais. A'i diffinio'n hunain. Do you define yourself by not being something rather than being something?
Na, mae hynna'n rhan o sicr Cymru, dydy, gan yma o hyd. Dwi'n meddwl bod yna rhywbeth pobl yn ei chanu ar ddiwedd cyngherddau falle. Dwi'n meddwl bod nhw'n deud mwy am sicr Cymru, bod nhw'n teimlo rhyw wendid, bod nhw'n gorfod cyfiawnhau, o, da ni yma o hyd, yn ytrach na bod nhw'n derbyn hynny, bod nhw'n ymfalchio i bod nhw yma hyd, lle mae yna rhyw fath o wendid yn hynny, dwi'n meddwl.
A'i gwendid yw teimlo bod ni yn goffa cymarnu yn y Lloegr, os rhywun fan hyn? Un ohonoch chi? Dech mewn, croeso, beth yw'ch enw chi? What's your name?
Little Paul.
Paul, croeso Paul. Siarad Cymraeg? Croeso Paul. Sut i ti'n teimlo heddi ar ddydd Gwyl Dewi fel un?
Brilliant. Gai roi can bach i chi?
Gei di roi can a croeso Talkaoke karaoke. Go on, Paul.
Okay. Please release me, let me go. For I don't love you anymore.
Da iawn, Paul. Mae gen ti well llais na fi, Da iawn, Paul. Da iawn. Diolch, Paul. Cymeradwyaeth i, Paul. Da iawn. Okay, beth yma ffaith bod ni ar stryd fawr ym Mangor fan hyn? Yeah, Dylan yn sydyn.
Happy birthday, the 1st of March, today.
Yeah. Penblwydd hapus i Gymru. Os yw'n ar rhywbeth ar ni'n wedi colli hanner yn criw ni fan hyn. Diolch am iste. Yes, hey, diolch. Final thought before you go. Final thought.
Well, the thing is, when I was fighting, I wish to God I was in it today because there's too many versions, and you ask any fighters, you got 67. When I was champion, there was only 10 champions. Too many versions, but the great fighters, Joe Golzaki, one of them, myself, I reckon, Howard Winston, great.
Yeah, okay, diolch yn fawr. Okay, ni'n trafod pob... Wel, Elen, ni'n trafod pob math o bethau. Croeso nôl i'r cylch.
Y rheswm fi wedi dod fan hyn achos bod fi eisiau sta lawr.
Ti wedi dod i'r lle ron?
Doi, alright, na. Oh, na, croeso i chi ddod... Yes, that's fine.
No, but please join us. Well, that's it. That's it. Exactly the sort of thing we've been discussing. What makes us feel Welsh? What makes you feel Welsh today?
Well, I've lived here since I was 3. I consider myself Welsh. I follow the Welsh rugby team. My children speak Welsh, all born here.
I understand most, but just enjoying the culture. I can't imagine living anywhere else.
Yeah, yeah. Do we do enough of St David's Day? Should it be a national holiday?
Yes, and I think a lot of people in Bangor University have taken the day off today, but I haven't.
So, and children speak Welsh. Did they dress up? Did they dress up when they went to school? My boys this morning dressed up as different things.
Well, my youngest one is 14, but she used to go to Bodafon in Llandudno, and she used to love to dress up, and I've got a beautiful photograph of her in her outfit, and yeah, and she speaks Welsh reasonably fluently.
So you've lived in Wales and since you were 3. Is this something to do with geography then, with boundaries? Is nationality a sense of belonging to do with where you live?
Again, when people, especially the English, think of Wales, they always describe Wales as the valleys. But to me, a lot of the stronghold of Wales is West Wales. There's a lot of, most of Welshism comes from West Wales, I find personally. But if you look at MTV now, they've done this new TV show called The Valleys, and I think they're trying to stereotype the entire Welsh culture into one small area of Wales. I mean, I'm from the Valleys. I know, okay, there are some people like that on TV, but that's not Wales, if you know what I mean. So it's like, I don't know where I'm going with this, to be honest. Dwi'n gwybod lle dwi'n Ond ie, dwi'n bod rhaid I Gymru ehangu'n bellach na sort of stereotypes, you know. So dyna beth sy'n gwahaniaethu ni rhwng gweddill Ynysoedd Prydain.
Yeah. How are we portrayed in the media? We're just hearing now about the Valleys, the series on MTV. Your daughter plays the harp. Not like that. So does that make her more Welsh that she plays the harp?
I presume so. Well, she was born here, so, and her father was born in Wales, so yes. On her father's side, there's a long history of Welshmen up in Ruthin that way, so yeah, she considers herself to be completely Welsh. She always says to me, Mum, can we speak in Welsh at home? And I say, I wouldn't be much good to you, would I? But I'll do my best.
Okay, so if you're not sitting, if you're just listening, you're welcome to join. We're discussing at the moment what it is to be Welsh. Is being Welsh about dancing with a harp on your head? Is it about rugby? Is it about language? Is it about culture? Is it about the country? Is it about geography? Os ych chi eisiau ymuno yn y cylch, please come in. And if you feel Welsh, tell us why. If you don't, tell us why. So I need to trafod y peth yma. Mikey, are we too concerned as Welsh people? You've been here a day or two. You've heard a lot about language. Do you think as Welsh people we're a bit paranoid about our own identity?
Well, yes and no, I would say. I mean, I think having just arrived here, it's kind of what you hear about Wales and Welsh people is quite stereotyped in England, I think. So it's nice to get. It's actually nice to hear Welsh being spoken as well.
Well, let me ask you.
And you know, going back to what I was saying about the homogeneity that we see in the UK, and we understand the UK from a London point of view, you know, it's good to actually see something and hear something different. But I do think, you know, like certainly there wouldn't be this questioning of identity in London. People just, there's so many different identities, and people just pick and choose like a buffet what they want to be.
Okay, so Mikey was just saying he didn't really think he was seeing the proper Wales before he came here. Beth wyt ti eisiau deud?
I was going to sort of elaborate on that point about the identity there. I think that, for some reason, I think the English feel like they want to be more of Britain more than any rest of the British people. I think that's because English has lost its identity a little bit. I think that if you think of what defines an Englishman, there's not much you can label an Englishman with, other than perhaps, you know, other than stereotype. Same with Wales. If you ask anyone outside Britain what's a Welshman, they probably think of either a rugby player or someone playing a harp. Yeah.
Mikey, I'll come back to Mikey in a minute. Have you lost your identity, Mikey, as an Englishman? We'll come back to you. Think on it.
Yeah, I'm just going back to what Daniel was saying about what people outside Wales think of people in Wales, and there has to be a valley in there somewhere. Always. Never mind where we are in Wales, there's a valley. But I suppose there are a lot of valleys, but yeah, and a lot of mining as well. That was the other one. Mae hwnna ddim mor wir heddiw. Capelli.
Chapels?
Yeah, religion. I think that's based, you know, big part in the Welsh culture, and it's a shame that most of them are closing down now, really. But I think that's very important in relation to people's behaviour to a certain extent, isn't it? I think so, anyway.
I'll come back to you, Mikey. You know, because I promised I would. Have the English lost their identity? You know, we've got a strong Welsh sense of identity. Have English people got that as well?
No. And no, it's not even that. It's just they don't really think about it. You know, as I was saying, it's more about coming from London or East London. I'm a West Ham supporter, and we've got all sorts of songs about East London, which I can't sing now for various reasons. So we don't really care that much about. I mean, obviously, I follow England games. I'm not so much the rugby, more the football. But it's not something that really, I don't lie awake at night thinking, what does it mean to be English? I just don't really think about it at all.
And why is that? Because the English are so because for a while you conquered the world and you don't need to think about who you are. You've told people already?
That wasn't me, really, but, you know. But it's just not something that comes up, you know, for whatever reason. It's like, you know, you can't really ask somebody why they're not thinking about something. I would turn the question around. Why do Welsh people think about it so much?
Why do Welsh people think about it so much? Being Welsh, do we stay awake at night? Do we lie there awake at night worrying too much about our own identity?
I think it's such a part of our history that we have to prove ourselves to be Welsh and to be separate from England. So I think it is something that we grow up thinking is really important. I personally was brought up in a house where ti'n Gymraeg a ti angen fod yn falch iawn o dy hunander, so. A dwi'n bita leek and potato soup, so I'm being very Welsh.
We're being very Welsh here on the Talkaoke, eating leek and potato soup, wearing daffodils. We've been singing a few hymns. We've got a harpist over there, getting out of a harp. Where's the Welsh cakes? If you want to join in, if you're passing, please sit down. Mae'n gnesach fan hyn, it's warmer here. Talkaoke, siaradoki, trafodoki, the mobile talk show. I ni'n trafod beth yw ei fod yn Gymro ar hyn o bryd. But we're open to any suggestions, any topics. We don't have to stay on Wales. We don't have to harp on the same subject. Croeso, na ddau newydd wedi ystod ni trwy'r enwau unwaith eto.
Paul. Daniel.
Michael.
Mikey.
Gwen Llian, ie?
Ellen. Jenny.
A Jenny. Iawn, os rhywun eisiau newid y pwnc neu mynd â fe'r gyfeiriad bach yn wahanol, ni wedi bod yn trafod Cymreictod yn hir iawn, ni wedi bod yn trafod y stryd fawr, ni wedi bod yn tynnu sylw at y ffaith bod yn y Gymraeg ar y stryd fawr hefyd. Please, dewch i sta lawr. Croeso, welcome. Siamai. Hi, Patrick. Ti eisiau sta lawr neu ti eisiau galw'r ffordd nôl o'r banc?
So do ti?
Fi'n dda iawn, diolch yn fawr. Galw draw wedyn. Iawn, mae Patrick wedi ffordd draw i'r banc. Okay. Chi eisiau trafod pres? Chi eisiau trafod beth sy'n... Ych chi'n y stryd fawr, gan i ofyn i ti eleni ar y stryd fawr, mae Pontio Bangor Shop. A dyma beth sydd yn mynd i achub y stryd fawr yma ym Mangor, ti'n modd?
Wel, wi ddim yn gwybod am na, ond achos bydde hwnna'n dipyn o bwyser yn ysgrifennu fi'n meddwl, dyddiau yma. Dim ond chi, ond ti'n modd, ydy'r syniad o greu rhywbeth newydd Wi'n meddwl bod angen i ni feddwl yn greadigol am y ffordd a ni'n gwerthu pethau dyddiau yma yn gyffredinol. A cynnig na gwerthu profiadau yda ni, dwi'n meddwl mwy na gwerthu pethau. A fi'n meddwl bod hwnna'n mynd am sgidiau, mae hwnna'n mynd am ddillad, mae hwnna'n mynd am goffi. Mae'r llefydd coffi mewn boblogaidd ofnadw, yn dyn nhw. Pam hynny tybed? Wel, achos ych chi'n prynu ambiance, ych chi'n prynu profiad, ych chi'n prynu, fel mynd i'r theatr.
Okay, Ellen's just raised an interesting question. Question o'r Ronald. Pam bod coffi wedi dod yn bopeth? Why has coffee taken over? Ni'n trafod yn Gymru, ni'n yfed te, yn sydyn iawn, coffi yw popeth. 10 years ago, 20 years ago, coffee wasn't to be seen. It was still in the cupboard. In the cupboard, the instant coffee you brought out sometimes. Ond te oedd popeth. Pam, os gen rhywun fan, please. It's a burning issue. Coffee. Is it enough? Is there too much? Gormod o siopau, mae'n un ar y gornel fyna, mae'n un fan hyn. Chi'n mynd i fod yn gwerthu coffi yn Pontio? Controversial charity shop coffee. So are we hooked on coffee? Do we need this much stimulus?
We are in Bangor. We are hooked on it a lot in Bangor. We can't do without it.
Michael says, and I probably agree with you, we're hooked on coffee in Bangor. We're hooked on coffee in Bangor. Os na reswm pam fydden ni'n arbennig o hooked ar coffee in Bangor? Do you like coffee?
I do like coffee, I must admit, and it's readily available. You can carry it around with you.
It's getting surreal, you know. Is this installation art? This is what Pontio's all about, people taking part. Da iawn. Did it fit? How did it feel to be a harp for a while? Huh? Na fe, wel, mae pobl wedi cael bod yn waith cael... Sorry.
I chi newydd weld blaen rhaglen newydd Pontio.
Ie.
Da chi'n cytuno? We've just decided that's going to be the front cover of the next programme.
Oh, right. Yeah, so down. So Ellen has just said that might be the front cover Pontio. Beth sy'n mynd I fod ar y front cover? Os hwnna neu os ddim hwnna?
Be, y rhaglen nesa? Wel, na I rannu hwnna efo chi. Ym mis Gorffennaf eleni bydd No Fit State Circus yn dod I Fangor. In July, No Fit State Circus, contemporary circus company are coming to Bangor for the first time ever, so that's quite exciting. They're an international company, they travel the world, they perform in a big top. It was commissioned by the Eden Project, this new production called Bianco, which actually is in the Roundhouse next week if you're in London. And you've seen it?
Well, I've seen them, actually that's not true. I was in Eden doing I was in Eden doing Talkaoke when they were doing their thing, but I actually didn't see the thing, so don't ask me about it, because I'll have to pretend that I saw it.
Okay, well, we're discussing what should go on the front cover of Pontio's brochure, if that's the word, because like everyone, you've got something to sell in a sense, and it's culture. Ni gyd wedi clywed, we've all heard about Pontio, the new building that's being built over there. Come in and join us if you've got views on what you'd like to see happening in Bangor, what you'd like to see happening in Pontio. Please dewch mewn. No Fit Circus, so will Pontio be a circus, Mackie?
At the minute, it's going to provide opportunities for people to experience circus in a marquee. When we have the centre open, we will have the spaces which will enable us to put circus on in the main theatre, because it's a multi-purpose theatre. Mae theatr Pontio yn mynd I fod yn aml bwrpas, lle da ni'n gallu cael llwyfan un pen. We'll have a stage one end and the audience are looking towards the stage. It could be in the round, it can be traversed, so the audience at each side of the stage, or it can be thrust when you've got the stage coming out into the audience. It could be banquet style, it could be cabaret style, so it's everything. So we can have dancers dangling, hanging, performing from the atrium, from the top of the theatre. So that's going to be really exciting because it means that we can be very flexible in the way we programme what's happening and offer new sorts of experiences, promenade experiences, immersive theatre. That's very, very trendy at the minute. That's very popular. And actually coming up, and I'm sure Dyfan can talk about this, we've got Cerebellum, which is bringing art and science together, which is theatre of the mind, Dyfan.
Yes, Cerebellum is something we've been developing over the last few years. It's a unique collaboration between Pontio and the psychology department in Bangor. It's a laboratory theatre where you go in, you enter a tunnel, and then you meet people and things, and you have to... It's a series of challenges from one end to the other. It's a one-to-one immersive experience, and I can't describe it. You have to experience it yourself.
Okay, all very interesting, but you know, is it generating a conversation here? Has anyone got an issue with it? Is it theatre? You know, variety seems to be the buzzword, really. But can we provide something for everyone? You know, can Pontio bring people in to see things day in, day out?
I'm sure they can, because we've needed all this activity for years in Bangor. Bangor's been dead for years, so it's going to bring a lot of entertainment into Bangor, as well as happiness and enjoyment for children and adults. So I think it's going to bring a lot of interesting people in.
So Michael there, yeah, most of us won't agree. Bangor's been dead for years. We could pick up.
I just wondered what about cost of tickets, because we can't assume that everybody is in the bracket where they might like to go to the theatre and perhaps for the first time enjoy a theatre production, but costs might be prohibitive, you know, especially in this economic climate. I'd like for everybody to have the opportunity.
I think you're right. I think that's the biggest challenge. I mean, that's one of the challenges. We've got quite a few others too. there will be different art forms being offered. There'll be cinema there. And at the minute, a lot of people are paying... Oh! Sorry.
We're discussing cost here at the moment, and the harp's just gone over. The cost of theatre, the cost of a broken harp. Okay? Mae'r telyn wedi torri. Da iawn, Elen. Da iawn. Cyfarwyddwr Pontio yn Pontio yn llythrenol. A fo ben byd bont. The cost, you know, the cost of art, cost celfyddyd, mae'n gwestiwn anodd yn diwedd. A ddyle pethau fod am ddim, free? If things were free, would they be valued? Yes? Yes, you say so? Come in, come in, come in. Yeah? Free? Scot free? If there was a play on in Pontio, come in, please, come in. This is free. Go on. Nothing. Nothing? No, nothing at all. This is free. It's free conversation. It's a free forum just to speak. You feel art should be free? Yeah. So at the moment, you wouldn't go, would you go to see a film? Would you go to see a play? Because you don't have, yes. But if more things were free, you'd go. So what, museums, are museums still free here in Wales? Yeah. So the things on in... But what about the argument? What about the argument that if something is free, sometimes people don't put value on it? If they think it's free, no? You don't agree?
How can it be? What about people's, you know, virtues like integrity, love, respect? They're all free. How do you not put a value on those?
But seeing we're consumers by now, and we tend to think, you know, if you've paid for a pair of trainers, and if they were 50 quid, they're better than the ones that are 30 quid. And is art the same, that if you pay for an exhibition, then it must be worth going to it?
Well, I think the monetary aspect of art really ruins it. If you take the music industry, for example, what you've got these days is basically a room of people concocting up songs that they think that they can sell to a certain group of people and then hiring some sort of person to do it, which isn't how it used to be. It used to be creative, people getting together, people having a good time, and it's just completely changed. I think all art should be free, and it's not necessarily simple in the current global system we live in, but efforts should be made to make it as free as possible.
Theft. Isn't property theft? Does that mean art is theft? I just think it's sad that, you know, it's a bit of quite often I look in local galleries, something like the Emperor and his new clothes. People are too afraid to say, no, I don't like this new art. And most people don't appreciate it, but people just stand aside and say, yeah, it's great. Just they don't want to be considered, you know, not in with the crowd, the arty crowd, really. So it's become a bit of a farce in reality.
So if you're not in with the arty crowd, art is not for you. It's directed too much towards the art. Perhaps we should pay after seeing the exhibition. And if it's not the Emperor's new clothes, then if it's not just a sham, then we pay.
Yes, I'm no disrespect to the artist, but if you've ever been into the new gallery in Llandudno, Mostyn Gallery, you will get a good idea of what I mean by what is considered art and what the man in the street would certainly not consider of any artistic value whatsoever.
So what is art? And is the modern art that's to be seen in Llandudno, in the Mostyn Gallery and similar galleries, it's in your view, it's not art at all, and it's not art we should be paying for?
That's my personal view, and I think if you ask the majority of people who weren't considered part of the I don't know, glitterati, pardon the pun type thing, you know, they might disagree, but the majority of people, and isn't art for the masses anyway and not for the elite?
Okay, so come on, there must be someone here with a view on this. Is art for the masses? Is art for us all? Come in, or is art just for the arty people, the arty-farty people who'll pay through their noses to go and see someone dressed up as a tree or whatever? You know, Mikey?
I'm an arty-farty person.
Yay!
But I do believe that there's a lot, if people, I think one of the problems is that artists get away with a lot because people, if they don't understand what's going on, they don't want to say, oh, I don't understand this, or, you know, it doesn't make any sense to me. And then the artist really gets away with it. But I think that artists should, you know, it might not be completely obvious because sometimes things take time to sort of unfold. So it's fair enough if it doesn't make sense at first, but they've got to make an effort to get bums on seats and get people interested. Otherwise, it's not really doing what it's supposed to do, is it? And I think one of the problems is a lot of art that you see in a gallery it's very hard to make really good art. So it might not work completely. It might half work, or it might appeal to just a small minority of people. But people are just too scared to walk into a place and go, I don't know what this is.
So are people scared?
I think so, and I think when I was working in a gallery in Carnarvon, pan o'n i'n gweithio yn gallery, the art space there was quite close to the entrance, and out of all the art forms, that was the art form that would provoke the most reaction one way or the other out of everything that we had on there. So if it was drama or music it was always the art that brought out the real rage in people if they weren't happy with it. Fi'n meddwl, mae'r peth sy'n bwysig efo'r celfyddydau ydy bod nhw yn cysylltu hefo chi mewn rhyw ffordd. You need to make a connection with art in some way, and it differs. Everybody's different. So for me, what's important in art is that it needs to resonate. It needs to be relevant in some way. In some way, and it might be something that's very remote from you on the surface, but actually there must be something deep down in there that resonates or connects or is relevant. So that's what I think.
Okay, so we're asking what is art and what is good art, and if it resonates with you, it's art, and it certainly has resonated with you. Although you said, well, it's rubbish, I'm putting words in your mouth now, it still had an effect, so it succeeded.
Yes, but, just because a negative effect doesn't necessarily mean it's a good effect, If you look at the people that will go to Italy and look at Michelangelo's works, hundreds and thousands of people visit every year, but the reality is they're not going to Mostyn Art Gallery nor Conway or the others in those numbers. Speaks for itself, really, doesn't it?
So Mostyn Gallery should be ashamed of the fact that they're not drawing the crowds like Michelangelo does.
Art is a very difficult thing to define. Somebody in Bangor said to me once, Bangor people aren't interested in the arts. Well, not much anyway. I mean, that's a huge statement. We put on something called Luminarium a while ago. It was a blow-up tent, basically, where people came in and appreciated the colours, the chambers. It was quite a quiet kind of experience. People who had never been to anything like that really enjoyed it. I believe that we should give people that kind of opportunity. We had to charge for it because, it was quite expensive to put on, but we tried to put down the charge to as little as possible. I think it was about £3 to go in, and you could spend an hour there, and people really appreciated it. And we had almost 4,000 people in Bangor to see the Luminarium over 3 days. So that proves there is a way of just, putting a price which is reasonable and giving people good experience of art. Although it wasn't obvious piece of art, but people really enjoyed and appreciated it.
Sometimes I think it's when you call it art, people have got all these expectations. Like, for example, this should be like Michelangelo or something like that. But sometimes it's better just not to call it art and then just let it, sometimes that means that people won't pay any attention at all because it won't look like enough. But other times when it's not called art, people just see it as what it is, and that's fair enough. And I think sometimes people can be intimidated if you say, oh, this is art, this is culture, and sometimes it's better just to leave it out and just let them deal with it as they want.
Come and sit down and pass the mic over. Come and sit down. We're discussing what is art. Should we pay for art? Should it be free? Are Bangor people interested in art at all? Back to you. It's because we're calling some things art and the other things not. That's the problem.
Well, a lot of the times, something as simple as a bicycle leaning against a wall in an art gallery is one of their exhibitions. Now, you and I and everybody else in the population knows that isn't exactly art. And just because it's placed in a gallery, we don't have to accept that it's art as such. There's no skill involved in leaning a door that somebody's found in a tip against a wall.
Okay, it is art skilled artists painting or drawing, or is it just the artist choosing to lean a bicycle against a gallery wall? That's what we're discussing today. Is leaning a bicycle against the gallery wall art? Mikey?
I think it depends on the bike. If you were to see my bike, I've got a beautiful carbon fibre pink bicycle, and I consider that to be a work of art, but not this one. I'm sorry, whoever's bicycle it is. So it just depends. I think if you're going to take the risk of leaning a bike against it, then you've got to do it in a seriously arty way for it to be art. But if you're going to paint a picture in a way, you're taking less of a risk because you're kind of, the performance, the skill is in the painting of the picture. So in a way, it's a different gesture, and it's not as, you know, as unusual maybe, and it's more understandable. So yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like you might feel that you attract more attention and more controversy by leaning the bike against the wall. I don't know.
Anyone want to come back yet?
I think one good idea for furthering the popularity of arts is taking it to the streets. So in a lot of other countries, I've seen situations where they've sectioned a certain area of the street off and given a certain well-known street artist just time to make something creative there, or other places where they've taken a piece of a public place and turned it from something concrete into something green with exotic plants, trying to make the place look more exotic and exciting rather than just bland concrete all over the place.
I was going to say that street art is a great idea, and the girl who was attached to the harp by some means or other and dancing, that was brilliant because it brought a smile to people's faces. People wanted to get involved, didn't they? So yeah, it doesn't have to be a Michelangelo-style piece of work, but just something which people enjoy rather than turn their nose up in disgust and confusion, which happens a lot.
So the definition of art is something that we enjoy. So we're going to let's move on to that. Do we have to enjoy art? Is that what you're telling me? If you enjoy it, if it brings a smile to your face, if it makes you feel better, it's art. If it troubles you and worries you, such as the battery running out, it's not art. Okay, so enjoyment is essential. We've just been discussing art. The battery's back on. You'll be glad to hear. Please come in. The battery's here for you as well. We've been discussing art here today on St David's Day here in Bangor, the opening of a new arts centre. Art is the hot topic of the moment. What is art? What is art? Is it enjoyment? Is it seeing something you enjoy? Or is it just seeing something that makes you think? Beth yw Celf, what is art?
I think it's seeing something that makes you think, so I don't think you need to enjoy it for it to be art. I think as long as you look at it and it makes you think about the world in a different way, that's what art should be used for. It should be used as a creative medium of making us look at the world in a different way. You know, there's lots of Picasso paintings, they are beautiful as well, but, you know, the meaning of them is, you know, horrible. It's about the Spanish Civil War and stuff like that, so... You know, I wouldn't look at that and think, wow, this is lovely. I'd think, God, that's awful. And I think that's what the point of art is.
Yeah, so I'll throw that back to you.
I'm just going to say, there's an empty chip box over there, polystyrene one, which does make me stop and think, what the heck have somebody thrown that on the floor for? But I don't perceive it as being art.
If it was in a gallery, would you perceive it as being art?
No, but a lot of people would.
But, I mean, it's interesting because when I was doing the Talkaoke and someone said about the harpist, the harp, not the harpist, I don't know what she's on, but I want some of that. And in a way, seeing things through the artist's eye is kind of like that. Like, for example, you know, I remember sort of like when I was at art school going around and you would maybe look at what is that? Look at that polystyrene box, and you can potentially see something creative, and you know, maybe you could fold it. I actually made a sculpture with some polystyrene chip boxes using a fan, funnily enough, because they all kind of blew up and kind of could stay in one place. So you know, you can actually, it's in a way that's the beginning of the journey of art, is to actually be able to see things, you know, see maybe banal things or boring things in a new and interesting way, be it a chip box on the floor.
a chipbox on the floor in the hands of an artist becomes a work of art, such as the soap can by Andy Warhol. It's the decision to put it there and to say this is art that makes it art.
Well, I'd have to disagree with that, because as a second-year law student, just by virtue of the fact that I can pick up a pen and write, doesn't mean that everything I write is legally correct or is even acceptable within the eyes of the law. And most fine artists spend many years at their craft studying human anatomy in great depth. So I could choose to be an artist by picking up a pen or pencils and doing as I will, but it doesn't necessarily make me one, does it?
It doesn't make you an artist, yeah?
I think law and art cannot be compared at all. Like, I did politics at university, and even in politics we were told law is completely different to politics. The whole point of politics is that it doesn't really have boundaries, but the whole point of law is that it's boundaries. You know, you're learning rules. There is no rules in art. Art is art.
It's funny because there was a whole thing about what can legally be called art. Basically, the US Customs, when they were importing a Brancusi sculpture, wanted to slap 100% tax on it. And there was a big court case because art didn't have any tax on it at all if you import art. So they had a legal case about, and the US Customs decided legally that art was anything that an artist would perceived it to be, and that was a legal definition for tax reasons. But that's the thing, it's all about perception. It's not a question. Artists say anyone can be an artist. Anyone can, they may not be a good artist, but they can have a go. But, it's about everyone getting involved and having, and seeing things in a different way.
Is that it, maybe? Are we confusing? I see where you're coming from. Are we confusing what is art with what is good art? Are you actually telling me, maybe not, that you don't think it's good art?
What, you mean contemporary art?
Contemporary art, conceptual art.
Well, I did have a place in Staffordshire Art College studying sculpture and fine art when I was younger, and the guy that was to teach me, he was actually a contemporary of Epstein, and asked me, did I enjoy modern art, conceptual art, and I said no, and he said, brilliant, you've got a place.
Are we actually discussing, we touched on this yesterday as well, taste and what each individual considers to be beauty? Does art have to be beautiful? Does art have to, but in the sense you've been talking about fine art, and there's an element of beauty involved in that, and skill, and so where does beauty come into it?
I know it's a cliche, but beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So some particular person may find something incredibly beautiful, and another may not. So it is, to a certain extent, up to individual taste, but there has to be a cut-off point where you can say, one moment, that polystyrene box is not art, it's just a piece of polystyrene box thrown on the floor, as to somebody carving out of marble a perfect replica of their child or their wife. It's totally different.
Mikey?
What about somebody carving the polystyrene box out of marble? Because those people have done those similar, not quite a polystyrene, but carving pieces of litter out of marble. And I don't know, it looks amazing. I don't know what that's about. But, what the point I'm trying to get is, it's just like going back to the politics thing. They used to say, my dad who's into politics a lot, used to say to me, everything is political. And in a way, everything, what I didn't realise then is that not everything is as political as everything else. Some things are more political. And it's the same with art as well.
Is art everywhere? Are we all works of art? When Anthony Gormley decided to put people on the plinth in Trafalgar Square and let them be on the plinth, can we all be pieces of art? Are we all artists, or are we all just pieces of art? Mikey?
If we want to be.
If we want to be. Ellen?
Wel, jyst dim ffiniau I gelf, nag oes. Mae ffiniau, dyna'r pwynt. A dwi'n meddwl, dyna pam mae mor anodd I ni ddiffinio'n union beth yw e. A dyn ni ddim fod diffinio yn union beth yw e. We're not supposed to say exactly what art is, because it's ever changing and it never should be in the same place as it was before.
OK, beth am i gloi y sgwrs mae'r gelf? Ni wedi bod yn trafod celf, beth yw celf? Mae'na rai chi wedi dod mewn i drafod. Un frawddeg, a sentence to sum up our feelings on art. You know, it's a big topic to sum up in a few sentences, but we'll start with Gwen here. Beth I ti'n teimlo am gelf?
Art is everywhere.
Art is everywhere. Mae celf ym mhob man, Mikey?
It's in the eye of the beholder.
Art, like beauty, is in the eye of the beholder, says Mikey. Your name again?
Jenny.
And Jenny?
Art's fantastic, and if you get the opportunity to go and enjoy any type of art, whether it be in the theatre, on the street or in a gallery, go and take a look.
OK, Ellen?
We've all got a right to art, I think. It's part of what makes us who we are, and it's the air we breathe, and we have to have it, or we won't be alive.
OK, so art is everywhere. Art is in the eye of the beholder. We can all be artists. We can all be pieces of art. I don't know what you agree upon. I'm not sure if this is art, but we're talking about whatever for however long we can keep it going. If you've got something you want to discuss, you want to talk about, come and sit down. We're not here tomorrow. We're not here in a few hours' time. This is your chance to air your views. Talkaoke, trafodoki, os oes gyda chi rhywbeth ar eich calon, rhywbeth chi eisiau deud. Dewch fan hyn I ddeud e. Mikey.
Is it trafodoki? Travioki or travodoki? Travioki. Okay, yeah. That's always.
It sounds like an Italian dish, really, doesn't it? I'll have some travioki, please.
I wanted to ask you, Mikey, why you were so distressed when somebody started to sing into the mic. Is that the big no-no?
I mean, I love singing, but I discovered early on in Talkaoke that you just can't allow people to sing because in a way, the singing is, it's more. Yeah, no, it is, but people just stop talking, and then it just kills Talkaoke. I don't know why, but yeah, I mean, I love singing, but it just doesn't work on Talkaoke, and yeah, that's it. I don't know why. It's just something that emerged that no singing was a very good idea if you wanted to keep the conversation going. I don't know why.
And I suppose it becomes a platform for that person in a sense as well, does it? If you just give the mic to someone and allow them to sing, they're not contributing to the conversation.
Maybe that would be a nice idea, a whole day of people expressing themselves through the microphone. Karaoke, talkaoke, danceoke, whatever you like. Whatever you feel is your forte, get up there and show everybody what you can do. Not like the X Factor, though.
I was just going to say, somehow emceeing rapping doesn't seem to have the same disruptive effects. But yeah, I mean, I would love to do Talkaoke the musical, where everybody sang, and everyone, if they wanted to make a point, they'd have to sing it. But it wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be the host in the middle for that one, I don't think.
Well, so you're saying, Mikey, if we sang our thoughts and our views and our arguments, that we'd have better conversations? The song free us up?
Well, I think the thing is you can't do it that spontaneously because you have to be really clever to think of everything you say as a song. But it would look amazing. It would be a really amazing spectacle, definitely.
Why do we sing? Pam yn bod ni'n canu? Ydyn ni'n canu mwyn mynegu'n hunan, Ellen? Ti'n gantores? Wyt ti di mynegu'n hunan well trwy gan?
Sa'n gwybod am na. Nôl y niwlaidd amser, falle. Da ni'n canu cyn bod ni'n siarad yn y bôn. Yndyn ni? Wi'n meddwl. Da ni'n canu wrth barablu, wrth ddysgu sut mae siarad. A da ni'n clywed yn mamau cyn bod ni yn clywed unrhyw beth arall. A da ni'n clywed nhw, da ni'n clywed ystod llais. A dwi'n meddwl bod hwnna rhywbeth i wneud efo fe. Mae'n rhywbeth dwfwn iawn yno ni. Y gallu I ganu neu I amrywio tynyddiaeth.
OK, ni'n trafod canu nawr, ni'n trafod canu. We're discussing singing. So if you've got something to say on singing, Ellen's just said that we sing before we actually speak. Ni'n canu cyn yn bod ni'n siarad. So Ydyn ni'n llwyddo i gadw na i fynd? Ydyn ni'n llwyddo i ladd yr ysbryd yma sy'n mewn pobl wrth ganu? We're not asking you to come up to sing, just to talk. We're not here, we're not a karaoke table, we're a talkioke table. So please come and talk, come and give your views, come and argue, come and discuss. Mikey, are the Welsh better singers than the English? As an English person, a Welsh guy asking you, are the Welsh better singers?
Yes, but I mean, I think it's interesting. There is a primal nature about singing. Like when I'm going to see West Ham play, everybody sings all the time. Like even though it's a terrible spectacle of football, everybody sings, and that's actually part of the entertainment value. So I think that singing is definitely more primal than speaking.
But yes.
Sorry, singing can invoke emotional feelings, but it can also invoke anger, and that's why it's used and was used previously to basically put the fear of God into people in Roman times, you know, and previously. So the chanting that goes on in a football ground, it's really as confrontational thing as opposed to a mother singing to a child.
Is singing confrontational? Are there any singers here who sang to scare people, to bully them? As Welsh people, when we sing before rugby games, there's something confrontational in that. Hello, croeso, welcome. Croeso. Newn ni trwy'r enwau unwaith o de, jyst i ni gwion y dwy.
Mikey.
Enw fi Jim. Just gofyn i bach, rydw i'n Sais. Rydw i'n dysgu Cymraeg, de. Ac rydw i'n meddwl mae'n pwysig iawn siarad Cymraeg. Unless I fall in the river, then I'll shout help.
Jim has had an interesting point. But Jim's just joined us. Jim is an Englishman who's learnt Welsh and felt it was very important to learn Welsh here in Wales in case you fell in a river and needed to shout for help. The international language of screaming. Croeso, Jim. We've got Mikey. You're in good company. You've got an Englishman to your right. Croeso, Mikey.
Hi, Mikey. Hello.
So Mikey a Jim unwaith eto?
Jenny. Ellen.
Jenny ac Ellen a gwion y dwy. We've been discussing being an Englishman in Wales. We've been discussing what it is to be Welsh. You live in Wales now, Jim. Chi'n byw yng Nghymru ers faint?
Dwi'n byw yn Bethesda. Hyn o bryd, rydw i'n byw yn Bethesda, i'w teulu, de. Ac dysgu Cymraeg, ddim ysgol nos, rydw i'n dysgu i fod pawb o gwmpas, de. Ac mae'n dŵad. It's coming.
Dysgu Cymraeg. Ydy yw'n hawdd dysgu Cymraeg? Mikey, you've been here 2 days. Faint o Gymraeg? Faint o Gymraeg? How much Welsh have you picked up in 2 days?
I can say bore da, which is not very useful now, because as it's, I don't know how to say good afternoon yet. And I can say, what is it?
Prynhawn da.
Prynhawn da. So there we go. And I can say diolch. And that's it, really. I did actually ask them in the hotel how to say goodbye. They didn't know.
Were you surprised that you were in a Welsh hotel and they couldn't tell you how to say goodbye?
I was, because the menu was in Welsh, so I was surprised that they didn't know how to say goodbye.
So the menu was in Welsh, but the people there actually didn't speak. So is the Welsh visible, but not audible at the moment?
Well, although I don't speak Welsh, I understand everything that he was saying, but sometimes I think it's sometimes a bit of a stumbling block if you're not... Oh, of course, I could go and find my way home if I was lost and have a general conversation with people that was quite basic. So I understand most of it, I just don't speak it. I think it's a lack of confidence in your own, perhaps, pronunciation and local colloquialisms, you know?
Okay, so it's to do with confidence. Learning Welsh, coming to Wales from outside or living in Wales, being born in Wales without the language, it's a matter of confidence. Hyder, the Welsh is to be seen, Mikey says, as an Englishman who's been in Wales 2 days now, and you've been before, I know. But he's seen a lot of Welsh, but he was a bit surprised not to hear more in the hotel where he was staying. So there's more status, but how many speakers? How do we get people to speak Welsh? Learners to feel more confident. Any views on this?
Maybe speak slower, because I'm a Welsh learner, and when I try and I go to Carnarvon and I try to speak Welsh, people just speak so quick, it just puts me right off, to be honest.
So the Welsh speakers, your name please?
Lizzie, and maybe they could also print up little well, I was going to print on myself a badge, dwi'n dysgu Cymraeg arafu lawr. Hello, okay, yeah, arafu lawr, and just get people to speak a bit slower. But I think maybe it's a personal thing, isn't it?
It is a personal thing, but I've heard a lot of that. People have been telling us, you know, that Welsh speakers need to slow down. Welsh speakers need to be more sympathetic towards learners. Anyone else feel that? Rwy'n arall yn cytuno neu'n teimlo? I chi wedi profi hynny, Jim?
Learning is a voluntary act. No one can be compelled to learn. So you have to have the will to learn. And then I guess like the lady over there, you've got the incentive to carry on. And then it would depend upon the methods of learning, which can be exciting. They can be absorbing and interesting. But of course you won't learn anything if it's kind of what they say, boring. You know, it's, you get a lot out of it.
So learning is a voluntary thing, even if the Welsh were all sympathetic, you need to want to learn. Mikey?
My experience of learning Turkish, which there's a lot of Turkish people in Hackney where I live, I was very much encouraged to do that because there's lots of Turkish restaurants, and if you speak Turkish, you get lots of free food. And Turkish food is really good. So maybe, you know, it's if you got free things from speaking Welsh, people would speak Welsh more.
So if we gave free food to people, they'd learn the language. The way to people's hearts are through their stomachs, Mikey. Is that what you're saying?
That because when I started my Welsh lessons, on the way to my Welsh lesson every day, the Aldi bin would be open, so I'd get loads of food out of the bin onto my Welsh lesson. So I actually got a food incentive for learning Welsh, but it was just a cosmic one. It wasn't actually deliberate. So maybe.
So more incentives and more forward incentives for learning Welsh. We're discussing learning Welsh here at the moment. We've been discussing all sorts of things: singing, rugby, Welsh identity, culture, politics at times. We're discussing speaking or learning Welsh, how difficult it can be for non-Welsh speakers to live in this Welsh country and not learn the language. And Lizzie's been saying we need more food, and Mikey was saying the same thing. We need to entice learners by giving them free food. So it seems a bit cynical, but...
I don't think that, by the way.
I know, I'm putting words in your mouth. Not food in your mouth, just words. Come and join us if you want to tell us how difficult it is to learn Welsh, or how angry you are for not hearing more Welsh here in Wales. Mikey?
Well, I think, you know, if there was it's not just about Welsh. If we hear other languages as well, you know, I mean, we don't, you know, there's people here that know other languages too. That, you know, there's probably Turkish people here. So, you know, maybe if we heard other languages as well as English and Welsh, we would, it would be more, we'd celebrate the learning of language in general more. I mean, Jim was just saying that he knows German and, is it Soto, the language of Lesotho?
Ich spreche Deutsch jeden Mal. I speak German. Ich spreche Deutsch jeden Mal. Ich habe Arbeit in Deutschland. I've worked there. Das ist stimmt. Yo hablo español, ¿sí? Yo attendí la escuela en la ciudad de Birmingham, in Inglaterra, por lección de español. And I sang over there. I played guitar, so it's important. We lived in Lesotho in southern Africa for 5 years. Keboa Lesotho Kamela, with all the cliques. Difetrani, Makabelo, Alosi, and Dad. You know, I mean, I think people are lazy. Look, we go on holiday and we see a drag gork towel on the beach, and I'm from Birmingham. And I go up to the person, I say, hello, Prananda, Sadache. And he tells me he comes from Monmouth. He doesn't speak Welsh. He doesn't speak his own language.
But are you an exception, Jim? Because you're open-minded, you've travelled, and as you say, learning 2 or 3 languages, then you're more open to the next one.
What's between your ears? Use it.
Okay, so we need to use... Yeah, go on, Lizzie.
So when did you start? How many languages do you speak?
I've got a working knowledge of maybe 5.
And just to give me hope, like when did you start learning these languages?
When I needed to. You see, I worked in Germany, and it's no good being on a building site and saying, excuse me, have you got the hose pipe? Straight past. You're saying, Entschuldigen bitte? Ja. Wo ist der Schleiermi? Da hinten im Buddy. Oh, vielen Dank für deine Gastfreundschaft. Das ist egal.
You needed to, and you felt moving to Bethesda, you needed to learn Welsh as well?
I didn't need to, I wanted to.
So there is a difference then, isn't there? Moving to Wales, you don't necessarily have to learn the language to get by. You'd be on a building site, or you'd be working in a chip shop, and everyone would speak English, more or less. So
makes you feel more part of the community if you learn Welsh. I found since I started learning, I made more friends from the area and felt more like I fit in here, or, you know, it does help, doesn't it?
I grew up in Rhos-on-Sea, lived there all my life, and I've never ever come across anybody that actually was speaking Welsh anywhere in Rhos-on-Sea, ever.
But
going back to London, where there's a lot of Polish speakers in London as well, and I developed this Polish Cockney rhyming slang just to make it a bit more fun. And, you know, enjoy it, as you know, as Jim said, enjoy learning it. So we say things like pie and mash, yaksha mash, pint of cobra, dobra. So, you know, and that way, I think that's actually how Cockney rhyming slang started. It's just a way of learning English, that if it's rhyming, then it's kind of more fun. Do you know, maybe you can have like a Welsh-English rhyming slang.
Try word association. I mean, Rydwi'n cytuno. I agree. Where I see curtains. Think curtain. Curtain, curtain, then forget curtain, you've got cytuno. Think mushrooms. Bloody mushroom in Cymraeg. Madach. Yeah. Well, think of Noah outside his ark. He's looking at his watch. The elephants are late. He's mad. Mad ark, mad ark.
Hey, I think you should sell this. This could be a new Welsh language learning scheme to be rolled out.
I was learning Japanese. Yeah, konnichiwa. And I wanted to know, how are you in the afternoon? And how's your day? You know, and you would say konbanwa. Konbanwa as a question. So I had to think of Sean Connery in a band with a wah pedal on a guitar. Konbanwa. And it works. You use this word association. Yeah. You see, if I think shoe in Welsh, skidia, I'll get Spanish first, I'll get zapato. So I think banana. Now you skid on a banana. Forget the banana in the end, because the shoe remains as a skidia.
So there are ways of learning Welsh. Don't give up, there are ways of learning Welsh. Word association, rhyming, slang, Lizzie?
There's a website called Memrise, which you can do that sort of thing on it, where it's got like you plant it in your brain, but there's lots of people writing little rhymes like that for different words, and you can write your own and make whole courses on there, and it's accessible to anybody, which is quite a good way to learn. And there's all different things you can learn on there, not just Welsh, but all languages and all different things. So Memrise, it's good.
Okay, rhywun arall, ni'n trafod dysgu Cymraeg. We're talking about the problems or the advantages of learning Welsh. The reasons not to learn Welsh, no Welsh speakers in our area. The reasons to learn Welsh, it's fun. Rhyming, slang and word association.
Dwi'n mynd wan.
Okay, mae Jim yn mynd. Final thought, Jim. Jim, cyn i chi fynd, un brawddeg. We haven't got a guitar, no, but just give us your final thought.
Final thoughts. Don't eat yellow snow.
Okay, peidiwch bwyta eira melyn. Mikey?
I think we should say to Jim, if he wants to bring his guitar down to the shop, if you want to come and play it, you know, we've got this today, but other days we need more things going on. So bring the guitar down.
Okay, sy'n rhaid ni stopio drafod yr iaith, achos bod Jim wedi mynd. Wedi trafod lot o'r iaith, Elen?
Ie, wedi bod yn ystafn yn gwrando. Un o'r pethau falle sy'n werth sôn amdano fe, gwahanol ardaloedd yng Nghymru. Of course, mae rhai ardaloedd yn fwy Cymreig na'i gilydd. Different areas, different parts of Wales are more Welsh or has more Welsh speaking happening there than others. I was brought up in Cardiff and in a Welsh speaking family with nobody around me speaking Welsh at all. And when I moved to North Wales and got married, I could not believe that people could buy stamps through the Welsh language, because I'd never been able to do that before, or even a loaf of bread. It was, well, all of a sudden, yn sydyn iawn, oedd yn iaith gymdeithasol, dim just iaith capel ac ysgol.
Yeah. Mae'n hawdd anghofio, it's easy to forget, I suppose, not that far back. People thought you couldn't do so many things. I heard John Davis, the historian, saying decades ago, when people thought you couldn't actually speak on a phone in Welsh because the technology couldn't cope with it.
Well, my ex-mother-in-law, when she went to school in, I think it was Denbigh or Ruthin, she was actually punished for speaking Welsh in the schoolroom. So it's a shame, really, isn't it? So it died out. So she never taught her son to speak Welsh because she felt it was a minus. And it's gone the other way now, hasn't it?
Ellen?
I have a different experience of learning Welsh, and because, for example, I've always spoken Welsh. It is my first language, but I never lived in Wales until I was 18, or read a Welsh book or anything until that point. So everything I knew of Welsh was audible. It's almost, I suppose, tribal way of learning a language. Anyway, but because obviously I went to school in England as a result. And what I've noticed as well is the awareness of the Welsh language outside of Wales, because when I was at school, they just said, "What, Welsh? It's not a language, it's an accent. We've heard it, we all talk like this, you know?" And I didn't anyway, but my accent has changed a lot since then. But I think maybe that's where we should be pushing it really, is pushing awareness of the Welsh language outside of Wales, you know, can it be a great tourist thing? I don't know, but that's certainly where it should be heading as well.
The language seen or heard outside Wales. I'm turning to Mikey, because you're from the London area, you live there now. You know, what were your impressions of the Welsh language before coming here this time or the last time you were here?
I mean, I definitely agree with what Ellen's saying. I think that there needs to be more identity of and, you know, I was just thinking about, you know, when I think of Wales, I think of like a band that I like Super Furry Animals, for example. But they're singing in English. I mean, I don't know actually where they're from in Wales, so maybe they're not from a Welsh-speaking thing. But I think that if there was more Welsh songs or Welsh music that we heard, it would be something that would be seen probably these days as quite cool, you know, and something different. So I think that it should be promoted maybe more outside of Wales as something that's kind of interesting about Wales, rather than inside of Wales, where people kind of know about it already.
Rwy'n eisiau mateb hynny, Elen?
Yeah, mae Super Furry Animals yn ddiddorol yn dweud, achos they come from Bethesda, which is where our friend was talking about. So actually, they do sing in Welsh as well, but you're right, most of their albums, no, you don't. No, well, that's another...
It's not put on the radio, is it? The Welsh language songs aren't put on the radio, but there is actually loads that they've done in Welsh. Didn't it happen that they had an album in English, and then everyone was getting really excited about their next album, and then they just brought it out in Welsh? Did that happen? Was that true?
I'm no expert, but they brought up one album in Welsh, Mwng, which would be translated as main, and then songs on B-sides, a few songs in amongst the English ones. But obviously, the English ones were played on Radio 1 or Radio 2 and on TV. So is that their fault for singing in English and for not sticking to the Welsh?
Haven't they just decided that they're not going to do so many? There was a big hoo-ha about Welsh language programmes, but people weren't watching them. They put them on in Wales for Welsh people, but the viewing figures have slumped, so they've just decided that they're going to really cut back on. So if people aren't prepared to watch their own... I sometimes watch Publicum because, it gives you good insight, into picking up a language. But if people aren't watching programmes in their own language, there's not a lot anybody can do to encourage.
Hello.
I think this is a really hot topic at the minute in Wales. And one of the challenges we've got is that we don't just have, as we had 4 channels, we were talking about this yesterday, we've got hundreds of them, haven't we? And we've got to compete with them. And S4C, if we're talking about S4C, has got to provide everything in that channel for everybody, whereas we've got different channels providing different strands. And also the funding for those programmes is much less. So programmes can look much less professional, and therefore people switch off.
Okay, I'm coming to Ellen. We're discussing Welsh language programmes by now. We've moved on from the Super Furry Animals. Should they have sung in English as well as in Welsh? And do we need Welsh language programmes? Should there be S4C, or should there be Welsh language programmes on the BBC, on ITV, on Sky, on the digital channels? Ellen, what were you going to say on this?
That's a really good point, actually, because, you've got BBC 4 showing Scandinavian drama, but why not a Welsh one? But that's another point. But, the point about quality is a really good one, because I think once upon a time, people did watch Espadorec out of a feeling of responsibility, as, we've got to protect it, we've got to fight it. If we don't watch it, it'll disappear. Same, you used to hear it, you've got to use a bank machine in Welsh, otherwise they'll get rid of the service. So there's a little bit of that as well. But now I think people don't feel that sense of threat with the language so much. Young people these days will be equally happy watching something in Welsh or in English, but if the quality is not there, then they're not going to feel that responsibility to, right, I've got to do things in Welsh or it might die. I don't think that's there anymore.
Sa'n gwybod. Fi ddim yn gwybod. Wi meddwl yn ddiweddar, yn wedi efo'r cyfrifiad, mae pobl wedi dechrau deffro eto meddwl, dyw pethau ddim cweit mor ddiogel oedd o'n i'n meddwl o'n nhw. Yn enwedig yn yr ardaloedd yn y Fro Gymraeg, neu yn yr ardaloedd hynny oedd rhywun teimlo'n hyderus. We're just saying that on the last census, it's become apparent that some of the stronger speaking, or the strongholds of Welsh language, they're sort of weaker. And really, it's a bit of a wake-up call, I think, actually.
Are we watching Welsh TV as Welsh people? Should we watch Welsh language TV just out of a responsibility or because the programmes are good?
Jonathan Ross watches Poblicwm anyway, so you're in good company. He does. It's a good show, yeah.
Jonathan Ross watches Poblicwm. You've heard it here? You've heard it here for the first time. Jonathan Ross watches Poblicwm. Why does he watch Poblicwm? Mikey, you're from Jonathan Ross land. Do you watch Poblicwm?
I don't watch any I don't have a television. I don't like... I think TV is essentially a bad medium, so I don't actually watch any TV at all.
I don't think you need to understand the language to appreciate anything. People watch... I've watched many films in foreign languages. Obviously, you do need subtitles if you want to follow the plot, but you can still appreciate the whole sort of... the quality of it. It doesn't matter what language it's in. It's true about anything, really.
I mean, we're talking about the very heart of what the Welsh identity is. It's their language, so I can't see how you can not think that the Welsh language is important. It's essential. If you don't have Welsh language, then what is being Welsh nowadays?
And the Welsh should be seen and heard on every medium then?
Yeah, I think so. And I think you should encourage Gaelic in Scotland and Gaelic in Ireland as well. Because we live in a globalized world where it's very trendy nowadays to talk about diversity, you know. It's very trendy to like, oh, diversity. But what is diversity? It's saving the identities in the world. I've had the chance of traveling around the world, and I see that globalization is ruining this. European Union is ruining this as well. It's just destroying identities, and we should fight for identities.
Okay, and your name again?
David.
David has just told us that he feels that diversity is fine. It's a buzzword at the moment, but diversity is impossible in this global environment where we want to be diverse, but how can we be diverse if we just give in to globalization? Mikey?
Well, I just want to take up the point about the Welsh language as a living language. It needs to grow and always come up with new words. But the problem is, of course, all the new words coming are, well, they're not English words. They're kind of like this kind of generic global words. But that is, you know, I think that's the problem, is that a language can't just be a historical language. It's got to keep regenerating and coming up with new ideas, new words, new everything. And yeah, that's going to be hard when you've got this global culture.
Welsh seems to, in my experience, it seems like Welsh evolves in small communities, and so that's what makes Welsh so different from even, say, Bangor to Porthmadog to Caernarfon. Or the Welsh is so different in these areas because it evolves in a community groups. One of my thoughts, one of the things that I'm interested in is local community, and I've boycotted supermarkets for over a year now. And see here, these are the things that are making, these corporations are the things that are making the, what did you call it earlier? Global, like the identity, the identity of countries is getting lost through. Oh, bless him. Sorry. I just, maybe like part of keeping Wales' identity, in my opinion, is trying to buy more local food and trying to support local industry and really putting effort into supporting local industry. Because Caernarfon, I feel, is like, it's dying on its feet in a way, even though it's the strongest, it's got the strongest language, you know, it's got the most Welsh speakers there, and it's a Welsh-speaking capital, but it's got 5 supermarkets, and it's, do you know what I mean? It's really, yeah, it's done.
Are you saying that, you know, Caernarfon has a strong identity linguistically, but other than that, it looks like anywhere else? You know, they're the same shops coming in.
It's not even about looks like, it's about actually the community there, and the people are not thriving because no one can get their own business there because everybody supports the big corporations, in my opinion.
And we talk about sustainability. That's what we're talking about, and empowering people so that they can make their living through what's around them and through what grows in the ground around them. And I think you're right. And I think all that's been happening with the horse meat and so on recently really, again, is a wake-up call, because actually if we were buying local food, if we were buying from local butchers, then we'd know
what we were eating.
Sorry to keep on going on. It's just a big problem with that as well, is I saw yesterday on like a Tesco website, is they promise now that they're going to just buy local from now on. They're going to put loads of effort into just getting local food, which is good, but that also still destroys small industries and destroys individuality of towns and streets. So, you know.
Anyone else?
I mean, it's kind of funny because I boycotted Tesco's and then the business started going, downhill a little bit, and I had to start saving money. So I ended up going to Tesco's, and they win in this way. I think it's awful in a way, and I feel a little bit hypocritical slagging off Tesco's, but they're just like taking over the whole of Europe actually, and it's pretty bad. I mean, surely there should be a law to stop a shop expanding to over a certain amount, because they've just got so much power and control. They crush farmers.
So is that the only way of stopping countries, corporations, shops from getting too big? Is by the law? Do we need to stop Tesco's? Do we need to stop bigger countries with stronger languages, with stronger economies from?
It's about individuals making a choice, isn't it, and being educated and awake. They're like small countries that move into your town and steal resources and steal the money from that town, and then just kind of sit there, don't they? And it's destroying our world, and our communities, and our individuality, and our work. It's taking everything.
But the reality is, I think a lot of people would like to buy local, but the truth is, sounds a cliche, but only wealthy people can quite often afford to have those principles where they buy their food, because a lot of people, as we know, are out of work in Wales. A lot of people are on the minimum wage. If it comes between feeding their family and buying their tea for the week and having principles and going to the corner shop and using the local butcher, unfortunately, cost comes before principles, doesn't it? Sadly.
It's true. It's very, very true. And I don't make much money myself, but it's this problem is only going to carry on though, and it's kind of the corporations that have made this problem. Because if you were really good at making bread, or if you were really good at making chocolate or something, there's no way where could you set up to do that? Do you know what I mean? Where could you set up to do that? There's no way that you could, that you could show these skills, because somebody else has already done it in a massive way,
I think my sort of conclusion to this is that there's no point trying to fight the big corporations unless we unify. It's no point doing single boycotts and single protests. You need to do it en masse, otherwise it's not going to have an effect.
I'd say it's all down to choice. It's about what people understand. Through understanding, it has to come from the right information. They have to be able to question things and process the information for themselves in order to be able to make the right kinds of choices. And everything is pinned down on the people actually being aware of the fact they do have a choice. Whether it's based on their decisions against their money, their time, and anything else, it's about what is actually important to them. And if they're not in contact with that, then things can't actually change in the way that they should be.
So the onus is on us as well. Well, we've been discussing final thoughts from Gethin. Who's heard all of it? We can move on to something else. Does anyone else want to come here? I fancy grabbing a coffee. I must be honest. This is digging into my hair.
I think we need to give Guion a massive round of applause because that was a long stint, and we went through all sorts of. We talked a lot about the Welsh language. It just happened that was the subject on the table when you were in, which is lucky. But yeah, massive stint in the middle of the table, and. Yeah, it's been really interesting. So I think, if there is a call for it and a need for it, I might jump in just to discover. I'll do it now. If someone wants to buy me an espresso, and from Cafe Nero Costas or wherever, and we can talk more about how. Maybe we should have a bit of music as well. What happened to the music? I'll turn the music down like at... An
espresso?
Yes, please. Are you going? Give us a final thought or something maybe we can chew on before you go.
The only word I've got in my head at the moment is all about choice. That's what everything pins down to choice.
Choice, okay. Are we making the right choices, do you think?
The right information,
We need the right information, we need the right communication. That's how to make the right choices. We need to protect that idea of choice, I suppose you're saying. Come and tell us about it just for a second before you go, and so we can get it straight.
It's just that the idea of choice, it's about something that it can make people feel regrets when they understand that they have had the choice all the time, but it can also be a very empowering thing. When people are actually taking responsibility for themselves, first and foremost, it goes in circles, it goes to their family, their friends, their community. And once they start actually acting upon those decisions with some kind of good purpose and good intent, then good changes can start happening. But without that sort of thing, it takes honesty. You can't lie to yourself about things like that. If you know something's not right and you don't do anything about it, you have to take responsibility.
What about me, knowing that it's pretty bad to go to Tesco's but still doing it anyway? I mean, I kind of feel bad about that, but, you know.
Then you've always got the next day and the next day and the next day to make those choices as you wake up every morning.
All right, so we can always make the choice later on, I guess.
In the present, not in the future. It's not about living in the past. It's not about living in the future. It's about doing something each day that will actually be a step in the right direction for you.
Okay. Let's just bring some other people in on this. I'm just going to quickly get a round of names now that I'm in the middle. What's your name?
Hello, Ellen.
And over here?
And Daniel.
And?
David.
And we've got Gethin on camera. He's been a rock all day, filming away. So what do other people think about this? Do we really have these choices? Is it the question of like us not knowing that means that we're in this kind of, I mean, does everyone sort of agree we're in a bad situation in terms of this kind of, you were talking about this global kind of globalization, generic world that we live in?
Yeah, it depends what society we want. I think everyone has different ideas of what the ideal society would be, so I was just giving my point of view.
Okay, so what's your idea about what it should look like then?
I quite like the ideas of producing local and going back to to the identity of each country.
Okay. Should we be buying some more stuff locally? I mean, you've come to Poundland. Would you rather get that from a local Poundland?
We've actually come from Liverpool. Just picked my boy up from university.
Well, when you come from Liverpool to here, do you think that this is it different from like the high street here to say the?
Lots more than Liverpool. Lots more than Liverpool.
But I mean, you've got the same shops.
Oh, same shops. Yeah, it's quite good actually. Like, it's quite good.
Do you think it's a good thing that it's the same shops, or do you think there should be different like Welsh shops here or local shops?
Not really. No, it should be the same all over, I think.
Okay.
All over, same.
Well, that's what I mean. Other people are kind of saying the opposite, that it's that we should come and get involved in this for a second. It's good to get the Liverpool opinion of this.
It's good to have different shops.
Yeah.
I just think that these huge chain shops that are everywhere, everybody ends up wearing the same things, looking exactly the same. So I think that any shop that is different is a good thing.
Okay, so we're talking about shopping. Come and sit down. Don't come. We have to go back to Liverpool. Okay, well, safe journey.
I think charity shops will be like they used to be. Everything for 10p. They'll sell more and make more.
Okay. So do you mean more charity shops or just like a Poundland for charity shops?
You can buy just as good, you can buy the stuff the same price in Peacocks when they should be cheaper and they'll make more money.
So instead of like a Poundland, you can have like a 10p land, but a charity shop, a charity shop version of it. Come and sit down, get involved in this.
You can get the new things. You can get new. You can get new things at the same price in a charity shop. Charity shops have gone too high in price.
Okay.
They should lower their prices and they'll sell a lot more.
Okay. Lower the prices of charity shops,
About the globalisation and every high street having the same shops, it can be a bad thing, but if you're travelling abroad and you see a shop you recognise, or you see something like for example McDonald's, even though the food there, so even though the food is horrible and it's just you know what they got on sale there, and if you're in a foreign country and you feel maybe a bit lost and you feel a bit homesick, going somewhere like that can bring comfort to you because you know what you're getting.
Do you think the Scouse people found comfort in Poundland? No, but seeing Poundland in Bangor, and because they obviously brought a lot from.
But if they're looking at something in particular, they know where they can get it from going to that shop.
Why don't we ask the people in JD Sports? Would you rather work for a kind of more local trainer shop rather than like the big JD corporation? You're nodding. Come get involved. What do you think of it? Should there be like a Welsh trainer brand, for example, rather than?
What's what's trainers in Gymraeg? Brenin be?
Why don't you have this in Welsh? King of trainers, Brenin.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what trainers is in Welsh, and I can't think. Yeah.
We've got Welsh flags and the probably Welsh rugby kit. Maybe even a Spurs top these days. I don't know, but okay. Yeah.
No, to talk about shoes, I was thinking about Dr. Martens.
Yeah.
They used to be really good quality because they were made here in England, and now they're made in Taiwan and Thailand, and the quality, you can tell, is just really poor. They fall apart and etc. To come back what Dino was saying about feeling comfortable of going, let's say, Thailand and seeing a McDonald's, I find that horrific for the Thai people who have got an amazing gastronomy and identity food-wise. I mean, if you travel, you might as well see what their culture has to offer you, even food-wise. Don't just be like a bloody American who just goes to bloody McDonald's and eats burgers.
You know what it is? It is a bit like that. Like, for example, I was looking for the Wetherspoons here because I wanted to get, I didn't find it. So now I can say that I kind of shop locally instead.
Yeah, a few things really. I was just going to say, imagine going to Thailand and seeing a Pontio Shop then.
Do you think you should have a branch in Thailand?
What, Pontio?
Yeah.
Oh, why not? I don't know. But the other thing I was going to say was, I was listening to, or I read back in November, an article in one of the Sunday papers where Danny Boyle, who's an ex-student from Bangor University, saying that theatres and art centres have got the responsibility of introducing people to something that's different from all these chains and brands and coffee brands and footballers, and nothing against football, but because they offer us something to believe in that's different from those things.
Okay, so you need you need an alternative. We're talking about chains. Do you need an alternative to all of these chain stores? Is the Pontio Art Centre going to be that alternative? Or are we all, this is what the subject's on the table, are we happy just with the Republic and the McDonald's and the Costas and all that?
I reckon, that, look, this is what I think,
Yeah.
What's going on at the moment is brilliant. It's absolutely spot on. But maybe a few more things would be beneficial.
Like what? What would you, like what?
Like another pub or another club or something like that.
Yeah. You think there's not enough pubs and clubs around in
There's not
in
enough,
this town?
mate. You need more.
But I mean, do you want to see like All Bar One and all these brands, or do you want to see like just like a Bangor specific pub? I mean, should Pontio have a pub, for example? Do you think that you can mix art and alcohol together?
No, well, no, definitely not.
No.
Yeah, well, no. If
cheers.
To be beneficial to the community, you need like different sort of authorities involved.
Yeah. What sort of authorities?
Like helpful ones, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna pass this along. So what's your name? Sorry.
Craig.
Craig and
Nav.
Do you agree with what Craig's saying? Do you think alcohol and art can't really mix? Do you think this town needs more pubs? Should they be generic pubs?
I think we've got enough pubs, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Some might say too many, but have a good time anyway.
What about this question of the arts and drinking? Do you think there should be like an arts pub or something where people can, or like a conversational pub where maybe people can have more of a talk about the issues of the day? Would that work for you?
There should definitely be more like a social place for everyone to come gather, but people with the same interests, I guess, because some places have a lot of kind of diverse people everywhere, so I guess a lot of people don't talk because of kind of social conventions that keep people away from each other.
I mean, what sort of interests do you have that you would like to kind of like make, are you...
I'm a media student, so kind of like filmmakers and kind of geeky people and stuff like that. So,
I did notice the T-shirt, Okay, I mean, is that the start? I'm going to come over to you. Do you think that's the start of like getting people together and discussing their interests? Because there isn't really, I mean, there isn't really a place like that. Craig is saying it should be a pub.
Why can't everyone just get together and have a drink?
Okay. I mean, the drink. I mean, we were talking about this earlier on. A lot of people agree with what you're saying, that a pub is a really good place to socialise. But could it be the? We're also talking about, having a more cultural space as well, and that could be the same space, and it could, about, I guess, escaping from this kind of blandness that we see around us.
Are you Australian?
No.
Are you from Australia?
No, I'm not. No.
What's your name?
My name's Mikey. Sorry, I do apologise. I haven't given. My name's Mikey. Let's have a quick round of names if you want. So we've got, what is it again?
Nev.
Nev.
Neville, yeah.
Yeah. So Nev, Craig, David, Daniog. What's your name? We haven't heard.
Ellen. Emma.
And
Gwion.
Ellen.
Sharon.
Okay. So where do we want to take this? Do we want to talk about? Yep.
I remember going to a pub in Dublin.
Yeah.
And I know we're not talking about our pubs this literally, but they had art on the walls, and not the same sort of art, not bland art, not art to make the pub look nice or cool or whatever. Local artists, I presume they were from Dublin, some known possibly, not to me, mostly unknown, selling their work on the pub walls. It was a bit ramshackle, but it was great. I've been there twice. I went there years ago, and I went to look for the place specifically because it was just a great feeling to the place because of all this art. It was being sold as well.
Yeah.
So, just that.
Would you buy art from a pub?
I agree with you that I think pubs around here, especially maybe should have like at least one that has more of the kind of Bangor culture in there. Maybe have some local art, maybe what the students have done, or maybe have a viewing of some films maybe someone has done for uni.
Have you seen any of the art that the students have done? Is it any good?
It's very good.
It is good. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay. Would any of it work in a pub, do you think?
Depends what type of pub, I guess.
Yeah.
Depends what type of audience it brings in.
Okay, art in the pub?
There was a pub a few years ago before the time when the Academy building was actually brought down. There was called Main Bar, but before that it was called Jock's Bar because it was where all the sportsmen went to have, traditionally when all the sportsmen went to have a drink. And they transformed it just before it got pulled down to, it was all like a gaming bar. There was a big screen, there was I think it was Nintendo Wii there. And it's a place people went not just for a drink, but to have just a good time.
Yeah.
I think that sort of, that's the feel of a pub. I think the atmosphere of a pub is important to the type of people who go there. I think, there's not enough diverse pubs in Bangor at the moment.
Okay. I mean, how does this, is this something that, because I think we should just say to those who don't know that you're, what is your role to Pontio? You're the creative director or
artistic director. Pontio.
Artistic director.
Yeah, so I'm listening.
I mean, do you think this whole pub thing could work as something, as a way of bringing in culture and bringing? Because what about the culture of getting people just talking to each other, discussing filmmaking?
Exactly.
Or,
I mean, I think what Pontio will do is offer the opportunity for people to come together for different reasons. I mean, we're needing to reach all sorts of communities, all ages, all communities. That's student community, local community, Welsh-speaking, non-Welsh-speaking, international, so it's across the board. But I think it's about making people feel at home in Pontio, in the various spaces, and they need to those spaces need to reinvent themselves all the time, actually. But what we need to do is offer something that's resonant and individual enough to draw people in.
Yeah.
And so I'm listening really.
So what about the pub idea?
The pub idea.
With the pub and the gallery could be the same space.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
I think there's room for both, and not just to keep everyone happy, but I think pubs who exist already and spaces who are already with us, in Welsh-English, in Carnarvon, need to be more proactive, but people don't go to pubs as they used to. It's too expensive. Booze is cheaper. You covered this probably when I was getting a coffee, but pubs are dying on their feet as well.
Okay.
Well, linked to that, I'm going to ask the question whether anybody thinks that pubs have changed since the smoking ban.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one. I think that is an absolute fantastic question because firstly, the first thing I want to say to you is I agree.
With what?
Oh, well, I think... sorry, no, that doesn't make any sense.
Do you agree with the smoking ban or not? Or do you...
I totally disagree with the smoking ban.
Right.
I don't think that the smoking ban should have been put in place because obviously it's people's health.
Yeah.
But think of revenue. Think of the revenue.
Yeah, okay. So you think it's killing pubs, revenue make, yep.
So revenue is more important than people's health.
Oh, okay.
I know where you're coming from, but I disagree. I think the smoking ban's a good thing, but in a way, it also brings smokers and people of common interests together in pubs, because if people are smoking inside of pubs, they stay in their own areas to stay away from each other. But if you go outside to smoke, then you're like, oh, you're right, mate, how's it going? So you smoke.
Okay, so it actually can be a trigger for conversation for that socialising that we were talking about, because the smokers go outside and talk about what a hard life they've got, having to go outside to have a cigarette, and they have conversations like, have you got a light? And stuff like that. I know I've been outside of pubs when it's happened.
I went to Dublin years ago when the smoking ban was in there and it hadn't come in Wales yet. And the pub really stank of BO and beer, and I really missed the smell of fags.
Yeah.
But luckily that hasn't happened to the pubs that I go to in Wales. Anyway, I think if you choose to smoke, it's not really fair to share that smoke. And
Come and get involved. We're talking about banning smoking. Do you think smoking should be banned in pubs? Why?
Oh, the use. I like this.
I can't hear what you're saying. What Craig's saying is that smoking, if you ban smoking in pubs, people don't go to pubs anymore. And the pubs, the businesses die. Anyway.
I'm in favour of the smoking ban, because I didn't like going out to pubs and then just coming home when you stink. And you ran out of bottles of Febreze just because you'd worn a top on a night out and then it was stinking of smoke.
Okay, what do people think about the smoking ban? Oh, look at this. Does anyone want a hot something around? What is that, hot Ribena? Do you want a hot Ribena?
I went to Dublin.
Yeah.
To the same pub with the art, actually, just as the ban had come into Dublin. At the time, I was a smoker and I was really disgusted by the ban. But I'm a non-smoker by now, and it's for the better, I can imagine smokers being pissed off, but on the whole, I think a lot of smokers feel they don't get back stinking as well, because...
Okay, so even smokers support the smoking ban. What do you think about the smoking ban? Should it have been put in place? Is it killing pubs? Is it actually... Is smoking killing us? I'm going to come to you.
What's the harm in having a separate section in the pub for smokers? I know that smoke obviously drifts. It can drift across the road. But if you had, say, Wetherspoons in Pontypridd had a smoking area before the smoking ban was in place, and you had a family section where there's no smoking and no drinking. Then you had a son section with smokers, and the rest was smoke-free. Yeah. And I found that worked quite well, because the smokers didn't feel. Sort of, they were exiled from the pub, and if you asked them to stop smoking because it's too close to you, they were happily enough to stop smoking for you. They're polite enough to say, excuse me, do you mind stop smoking? Oh yeah, fine, sorry, I'll take it outside. So it's not that big a deal, I don't think.
Okay, David?
Those against the ban are thinking, well, think about all the people that now the pubs are missing, but you could reverse the question and say, well, think about all the people who don't smoke, who now go to the pubs because they don't have to breathe in smoke anymore, so... Yeah,
I
think health is more important than revenue, definitely.
Okay, so you agree with the law?
I smoke about 15 cigarettes when I go to the pub. I don't usually smoke.
Yeah.
I don't smoke at all usually.
So is it even now, even when it's
before the smoking ban, I think I was too young to smoke, but yeah, I smoke only when I'm in the pub, and I really have never felt like this is so unfair that I have to go stand outside. Of course I should go stand outside, you're spreading.
Yeah. Should you have to go outside if you want to smoke a cigarette?
Yes, well, you should. You should go outside for a smoke, because it's not fair on the people inside, is it?
Yeah. So but I mean, you're saying that there shouldn't be a law against it.
What I think is this, people congregate in the pubs, socialising, friends and family, the last thing they want, if they're non-smokers, is to have somebody with a big fag in their face. And that's not very nice.
But it's a slightly different position to what you were saying earlier on, that smoking is killing the...
Very true. Earlier on...
Yeah. So are you saying that listening to people now has changed your mind?
I would say that, actually, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Instinctively, I thought, keep the smoking ban away because I smoke, but nah, really, it's put in place for a reason.
Okay.
It's put in place for a reason.
Okay. Okay, there we go. There's a change of. Yeah. Okay. So I mean, where do we go with this? Do we want to talk about pubs? Do we want to talk about art and culture? We've got a new face over here. What's your name?
Terry.
Terry. What? Shall I do everybody else? Go on, quickly. What's your name?
Emma.
Gwion.
Ellen.
Gwyntian.
Nav. Craig. David.
Daniel.
And my name's Mikey. Come and get involved in this. At the moment, we're sort of between subjects, talking a little bit about the smoking ban, a little bit about how to get revive. Yeah, we've got a subject?
I've got a subject to talk about, yeah.
Yeah.
Benefits.
Benefits. What do you want to say about benefits?
I've got too many things to say about benefits.
Well, we've got one thing to say that
why are they stopping?
Yeah.
The housing benefit.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
They're not stopping it. They're cutting it down on people that have like 9 kids because they're taking advantage of the system.
Okay. All right.
Okay, Vodafone and massive companies like that don't pay any tax, yet you're concerned about that person who hasn't got a job who is claiming and ruining our society. That's just completely ridiculous. If we're going to be focusing on anything, it should be the big companies that are just completely taking the mick out of our system.
Okay.
This is just typical that people will blame the people who are struggling most in society rather than looking at the big picture. It's just so easy to blame. You know, they should never, like the spare room tax is just awful.
Okay, all right. So I can see there's a little bit of passion about this.
Oh, yeah. The bedroom tax, why I think this is absolutely ridiculous idea is that it's kind of formed based on big cities, really, the policy, where, you know, flats and one-bedroom places are quite common. The problem you've got in Gwynedd and Anglesey and things is people who are going to suffer from the bedroom tax don't actually have anywhere else to move to. There's a massive shortage of one-bedroom flats and things in this area. So, you know, how's that going to work? You're just going to evict people or force them to pay more money.
And what do you think about this? Do you agree with Gwen about this idea that we're looking at the sort of wrong end of the money pyramid?
Well, it's all to do with trying to find money for the government, isn't it? And they need to be looking a bit closer to home rather than penalising the small man.
Yeah, the whole use of the word benefits to describe what the least privileged people in this country have is just ridiculous. It just shows the whole way that we look at this country is so flawed. You know.
So how should we be looking at the country?
The opposite.
Come and get involved in this. We're looking at the country at the moment. The opposite. Well, and what do you mean? I mean, according to you, what would your country look like? I mean, what would your...
It'd be more socialist, obviously. I'm Welsh.
Okay.
I totally agree with what you're saying, that people shouldn't be looked down on because they're classed as the benefit class. But at the same time, I think it'd be a lot better if we had a generation of people, because I had someone in my school, and when people asked her what she was going to do when she grows up, her answer was get pregnant and get a free house. So it'd be better for a generation that didn't grow up thinking, if I do nothing, people are going to look after me.
Okay, so...
That's an urban myth that everyone uses. I heard that about 50 million times.
Okay, are there people that get pregnant to get a flat or a house even?
I was just going to come back to, I didn't know that being socialist was part of the Welsh identity, but also about benefits, I think I agree that we shouldn't be attacking the small man, especially now in the period of crisis.